Boom. And we are live. Like, well, we were live before, but now we're really live.
Awesome.
Yeah. We're not starting
Hello.
soon. We've,
Hello, Twitch.
yeah, hello. No longer starting soon. We have started. Hey, actually, I think I need to slightly adjust your video just a little bit. I think if you're going to be
Oh,
like that, I might slide you over just a hair more. Sorry about that. It should only take a
no
minute.
worries.
And we're doing it live. We'll do it live. And boom, perfect. So yeah, please forgive me for that, but look at the new layout, everyone. Woo woo. I hope you enjoy it because I enjoyed making
Damn.
it this week. Yeah, looking fancy. What? Yeah, this is now, these scenes are mostly powered by React and GraphQL, which is really cool and fun. Yeah, I talked about this
Hmm.
some on Orbit on Monday, but yeah, we've got a lot of new functionality that's been added, and it's working really well, and I'm very happy with it. It's a lot faster to make changes to. I'll say that much.
Yeah, it's gotta be a lot easier to just have things stay consistent between streams as well.
Yep.
Um, and it's just like so relevant for a GraphQL stream to be
Yes.
have their stream layout powered by GraphQL. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I love it. Subscriptions for the win. Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, so it's cool. I'm loving it. It looks great. And yeah, it's awesome. How have you been? How's it going?
I've been pretty good. Actually spent the morning cleaning my place. Like I had to like take out the trash and compost and clean my clean my shower, do like 2 days worth of dishes and
Yeah.
just kind of like getting or reducing my cleaning backlog. Sometimes I let that. I'm usually pretty good about it, but sometimes when it piles
Yeah.
up, I need to clear it before I can set my mind on anything else.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's cool. I've been pretty busy, honestly, on this. This is what I've been doing most of the week. Pretty heads down on this. I even canceled a couple of like my personal streams because I just got so enamored in this. I was just like, oh, well, I'm not gonna stop until it's done. That's a problem of mine
Hmm.
sometimes. Like I have to learn to like pause things.
Mm.
Yeah, I tend to get too focused, like too deep into it. Yeah.
I feel that, but hey, if it's like if it's something like this and it is just like something that's kind of new greenfield territory and you're building momentum towards it, I could totally see why you would get enamored with something like this.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
it's just really cool. Hey, have you been thinking about how like this works as kind of like a one-off React app for our stream? Have you thought about like making like a stream layout builder essentially? And because the implementation
Yeah.
uh from or like implementing one of these stream layouts just means pointing a source to a URL, right?
Yep.
Like it would totally function as like a SaaS product.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, have I thought about that? No, like that's literally what you're describing is Streamlabs and Stream Elements. And
Oh, okay.
right, like kind of for the most
I
part. That
see.
yeah, that's like kind of what they're doing. But like yeah, so a lot of that stuff I've heard those overlays and things are yeah, they're browser based and that's what you do. You load like your URL and then
Mm,
that's how they work.
okay.
I have thought about this though, because you look at tools like Blocks UI, and like what that's enabling, like the building sites, and like you could even have the components, like live components, and drag and drop them into an editor. And
Hmm.
then if you wanted like a power user mode, you could have code. And then I was thinking about how you could have support for like how you have the Google image uh, or not Google Image, GitHub Image drag and drop functionality, that would still work with like a Blocks UI thing. So
Sure.
imagine you have your complete like UI based builder where you're just moving blocks around and laying it out, or you can flip into code mode, but then still like drag and drop these blocks into there because it's just JSX, right? And it's like if it was like say you're writing an I don't know markdown or whatever. I don't know. Long story short is yes, I've been thinking a lot about this and like what that means is for kind of the future of content creation in general, not even just for streaming layouts. But yeah, there's a lot of that
Hmm.
stuff jumbling around in my head lately. Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you look at like MDX and like this explosion of this idea of digital gardens and all of these things, and you start to put them all together in Blocks UI and like no code and low code and just like I feel like we're on the cusp of something that's a bit different and like Jupyter notebooks and like embeddable runtimes and stuff. I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff you could do. It's pretty crazy.
Hmm.
But yeah. Yeah, all right.
It's
That was
exciting, man. We're on
yeah.
the cutting edge here, it feels like.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just like so much room for stuff still, and we haven't even, um, scratched the surface. And then I was also talking about one more derailment. One of the things that I love about GraphQL, and that is like how it's so good at bringing a sense of stability and order to things that are can be quite chaotic under the hood. And it's like and like yeah, I mean you can kind of do this with REST APIs as well, but it's not as easy as it is in GraphQL with like the strict typing and how you know what your responses look like and just how you give like such a relationship and structure to things. When I was making the scenes for this and building the back end, I'm pulling in information, like I'm relying on IRC chatbots. I'm doing some setup with webhooks. Like I've configured it to take incoming post requests like custom webhooks that I can send to it. And it's like there's like it's integrating with Google Calendars to like pull in information about upcoming streams. So when you add all of that, that's a bunch of chaos. And like to organize that and be able to put GraphQL in front of it and just write these super easy little queries to get that data is just like, you know, but yeah, GraphQL
Hmm.
rant and GraphQL rant or commercial, whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it.
it
Yeah.
is really cool how it kind of it abstracts away a lot of complexity for a front end. Like when you're developing a front end, you only need to worry about communicating with one thing.
Yeah.
And then that thing can facilitate all the connections, the thing being the GraphQL server. But you don't need to experience uh, that complexity as you develop the front end,
Yeah.
which is really nice.
And yeah, and even from the API side, as the backend developer, it's really nice for me to not have to work hard to bring that stability and ease of use to the front end. Like in a REST API, to get what I get with GraphQL, it's just a lot of work. There's no way around it. But yeah, so it's awesome to just be able to spin that up and do this in a week. Like so now all of our Twitch scenes are powered by React and GraphQL, and it took me a couple of days to build. So it's just nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's magic.
Yeah, it is magic. I should actually do a mission briefing on like how it's built.
Absolutely, you should. That would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to I'd be happy to play the host in that one if you want
Yeah,
if you want
that would be
another
awesome.
person talking. Yeah, we'll
Absolutely.
we'll 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 turn the tables.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah, we should do one on how the blog is built as well. It's really interesting.
Sure, we
Yeah.
can we can get to that too. I think that one will be more interesting when I'm through the current body of work that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty cool as it is, but it's gonna get a lot cooler pretty
Yeah.
soon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, I guess we should dive in. It's been a while. It's been 2 weeks since we have found ourselves here. We had Space Camp, and then last week I couldn't make it. I just was not feeling well. And yeah, so we had to push it. But here we are, alas.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I'm trying to think of what we did 2 weeks ago, where we left off. I think we had the UI like built. I believe where we were is we could save and view um, our listings, but we don't have like the companies done out yet or anything like that.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure that's where we left off. And I guess what I could do is we could spin up this environment and just go take a look.
Yeah, we I think we got to like the first half of CRUD. We
Yeah,
got we got create and read
that's right. We didn't do
and
update or delete. That's a good call. Yeah.
Yeah. So those two things are outstanding still, and then like you said, the associating companies with
Yeah.
listings is also to do.
Yep. All right, so let's get this going. So we're going to use that VS Code Live share niceness, but this is Netlify dev because we're reliant on environment variables for our functions that are in Netlify console. So
Hmm.
we run Netlify dev because they pull those in and put those into the environment for us, right? Am I remembering
Yeah.
this? Yeah.
Exactly. I think and like the most important part of Netlify Dev is just to run the functions locally.
Yes, it
That's
connects
like the
your app and then like the port that it's running functions on, right? Is that the
yes,
yeah, okay.
exactly. So yeah, it ends up spinning up three separate
Ports.
development environments. One
Right.
for your functions, one for your local site, and then a third one that's like marries the two of them, and serves your functions port. It proxies your functions port at the same path that it would normally exist on if it's being deployed on Netlify.
Yeah,
So
which is
you don't
cool.
need to like do any special casing about what API URL you're hitting.
Yeah,
You're always hitting the same path.
which is really nice. Um, yeah, and so like we can
Yeah.
see here, we got localhost 8888, and then we also have localhost 8000, which is just Gatsby by itself, and then this is the Netlify dev updated port and app that has also the serverless functions running at the
Hmm.
same port. Okay, cool. So we've got that. We're ready to rock and roll. Let's see here.
Now we just need to get me into your live share session.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's do that. So, yeah, I need to yeah, live share, start collaboration session. What? I thought I was signed in. Yeah.
Yo, Sam Julian with the raid. Thank you, Sam.
Oh man, I
Appreciate
really
that.
wish I had so I have support like I can know when we get rated and I didn't have it set up yet and now I'm so upset because like we could have done some like cool thing, you know? But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Next time, next time.
Yeah, but Sam, thank you for the raid. What? Awesome. So glad to have you here. All right, cool. Let's so we've got this copied. I need to send you this. Uh, so I'll send it to you actually. I want that back. I'll send it to you in old Slack.
Okay,
Boom. There we go.
thank you. All right, we're loading the file tree, joining
File tree.
collaboration session.
All right. Trevor Blades has joined. So I guess we're good here.
Yeah,
Uh,
so I think that we'll need.
yeah, the server. Oh, it's shared. They're already shared.
So I got that shared. Now I also need
Terminal.
the terminal. Yeah.
Make read write. And then I'm going to open another one. And I'll make that read write just in case we need to like do other things. Right?
Yep.
Okay. I think we're good. I think we're good
Okay.
now. All right. Yeah, yeah. So let's go take a look. Let's go see what we got.
Okay.
So this can go bye-bye. And then we want local host 8888. Yes, and I'm logged in. So here we go. So we have some listings. Um,
Cool.
yeah, yeah, we're good. But we can only oh, that's right. And there's the one. It's like still in the database because we're using render. So we're using render.com. So this is like talking to an actual database. And so we can create more listings. As a matter of fact, haha, shameless self plug. I think there's another role on Apollo for a backend engineer.
Oh,
I
so we
believe.
can that can be our dummy data, I guess.
Yeah, well, we will have two, and then now we'll have two. I think. Solutions architect. Maybe not. I could have swore I saw something. Oh wait, here you go. Senior backend software engineer. Boom. Thank you. Goodbye. Because I just want to test this. Um, Apollo backend engineer. Boom. Oh, but our form doesn't clear either. That's something we'll probably want to do. Hey, what's up, yo, iPod pancakes? Yeah, and we are happy to be back at it. So, yeah, yeah, I've missed y'all. I love streaming. It's a lot of fun. Like I love this.
Me too.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Okay. So yeah, so I think we're good here. You know?
Cool.
Yeah. All right. So what should we do next? What do you think is the next step here?
Let's see. So I'm gonna just refresh my page. Well, let's see. First of all, we could go in like one of two directions.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like on one hand, we could continue fleshing out the other like update and delete
Yes.
operations.
Finish the
Uh,
CRUD part of
and
CRUD.
yeah, and then the other direction we could go is like fleshing out the listing types and like adding support for other fields, um, adding like support for associating it with a company,
Yeah.
um, and like tying together some of those relationships between companies and listings.
I like what you said. The I guess that would be the former. Let's get the CRUD done because you can't spell CRUD
Okay.
without UD. And then sorry, couldn't help myself.
Sorry,
Uh,
you're entitled to dad
I
jokes.
am a dad, so I get to use dad jokes. It's great.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. But yes. So yeah, yeah. So I say let's do that. Let's finish out the CRUD part, right? Because I think that makes the most sense. We'll have that whole life cycle complete, and then we'll start worrying about expanding our data set and making the form more complex. Yeah?
I like it. Let's do it.
Woot woot. Do do. All right, so already I'm just gonna start like this. I'm gonna develop Resolver first, yeah. So
Okay.
because we know we're gonna need to update a listing and delete a listing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. So I'm going to imagine that there's going to be a listing dot update. I don't know if that's what it's going to be called. Yo, Peggy in the chat. What's up, Peggy? Thank you for joining us.
Hey, pig.
um, so is it update? I wonder. Where do dads
Well,
keep their data? I cannot wait to hear this in a database.
oh my God.
Oh,
Pancakes. I appreciate that, man.
yes,
That's
that's amazing. That is.
keep them coming. If
Oh, yes.
okay. Mic drop's cool too, but yeah, if you have more, please don't hesitate to share.
Oh my
We could
God.
we could take dad jokes all day.
Yeah, I'm dying. That was amazing. Okay. All right. All right. So we probably got an update. Let's see.
Yeah. Well, actually, the way that this would work in Sequelize is we would call update on the listing
Itself.
instant.
Right.
So like really what we want to do is like get a listing,
And then call it on that.
return an error if listing doesn't exist. We also probably want to return an error if the listing doesn't belong to the user. And then finally we call like lowercase
Right.
listing
Right.
dot update
Okay.
with
Yeah. I haven't used
uh,
Sequelize in so long that you kind of forget these things. Like, do you always call off the class and then you pass in the ID?
for
Um,
sure,
yeah.
for sure. And then it'd be the same thing down here in delete listing. We'd
Right.
call listing, and we would probably go through the same checks, like try to get a listing, see if it exists, see if it belongs to the user, and then finally call listing dot. Oh no,
Whoa.
there we
There
go.
you go. Yeah.
Listing dot delete.
Yep.
And I think in here we would just call listing delete where whatever ID equals input.id. I
Okay.
believe that's how it works. Let me just
If
consult the sequelized docs really
Yeah, let's
quick.
consult the sequelize gods, so to speak, and because it would be weird to call delete on itself and then have to pass in the ID of itself.
Oh yeah, yeah, right. We wouldn't do that. We would just call delete.
Let's go take a look. Yeah, let's just jump into. I'm gonna go to the sequelize docs too. I want to go.
Hmm.
If I could use my keyboard. So I got a new mechanical keyboard. I love it. Number one,
Oh,
can you hear it? I wonder if you can hear it. Can you hear it on the stream? Let me know if you can hear it. I'm curious to know because it's supposed to be quiet. I think it's loud, but maybe it's not. But I like it. I haven't had a mechanical keyboard in a while. Are we on V5? Nope, can't hear it. Nice, because it is like clack-a-lacking on my end.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, we are on V5.
boom.
And that is so cool, Peggy. I didn't realize that they that
Oh, the dev joke?
somebody has compiled a repo of dev jokes, and it's Shruti Kapoor as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Ooh, what?
very cool.
Boom.
That's
Star.
getting a star from me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, there's just a bunch of them.
Open a PR pancakes. That'd be
Please do.
that is quality open source development.
Oh, you know what I want to do?
What's
I
that?
might turn this into a GraphQL API.
Mm. We could even have or dev jokes interspersed in our stream layout on the taskbar on the
Oh,
bottom,
we could absolutely do that. Oh, yeah, get
right?
Shruti on the stream. Oh, that'd be even better. Yeah,
There we
I
go.
love it.
Now it's see this is really coming
Oh
together.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I like that idea.
yeah. That is a really good idea. Yeah, I'm gonna do that because this is hilarious. So we could support images. Like, this is a lot of stuff to do here. Yeah, yeah. Exactly. The GraphQL JSON placeholder. Yeah, this would be perfect.
Yeah.
That's a really fun idea. Cool. All right. So yeah, note to self. Gonna go ahead and take this. Go ahead and drop that to myself in Slack. That's like my I guess link closet, I guess I would call it. All right.
All right.
All right, cool. Yeah, there we go. So that's on the list now. That's going to be fun. I was actually talking with Khalil and I was like I want to make like a fun open, GraphQL API that we can use for examples. And it's just nice to have more
This would be it.
examples. Yeah, this is good. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes.
Um.
Yeah.
Hey, so I did some reading, and you're right, like the method is just called without arguments, but the name of it is actually called destroy,
Oh, that's right. It is destroy.
not
That's
delete.
so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, what about getting the listing? Do we want to check the docs for that?
Oh well, that we would
Find
just say
by
like listing
PK, right?
find by PK
That's it.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Um. So but so we got our resolvers, and actually yeah, let's keep doing this. This is good.
Yeah, yeah, because we want to await, and then that would be list. Oh wait, do we have listing? Where is that? Oh, it's
Yeah, we
just
do.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. Find by PK, and then that's going to be input.id.
Cool.
Yeah, and that.
And then what we can do here is,
I'm
um,
curious about this part too, though.
yeah, so we would omit this. Really, like what we want to do, what we could do is basically, or yeah, what we're trying to do here is we want to pass to update input minus the ID. Every time I type, it gets removed. There we go.
There we go. That's weird. I
Um,
hate that.
input minus the ID. So here's one idea, and I want to know what you think about this. Like,
ID
what
rest.
if we call this args and then just say ID and then yeah, rest as input
Yeah.
from args input.
Can we
That way
do
then we can
this?
just say in ID like
Yeah.
this.
Can we even just go like this? I thought we could do like ID rest. No?
Yeah, well we could, but this argument is just like all the args,
Oh,
and
that's right.
for
It
for
has to
this
come off
for
input.
passing an
Yeah,
input,
yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah. So to
one specific input.
yeah, so to that we would have to do this, but then like at that point it's just getting crazy.
Yeah,
Got it. Got it.
yeah.
Okay. Boom, 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 boom,
Anyway, that's
boom.
the reason why I normally like to do only one level of object destructuring
Yep.
at a time, like per phrase, I guess. Um, and so in this case, if I'm going to be destructuring something from one property off of args, then I'd prefer to do this rather than doing something more
I dig it.
wordy and complicated up there.
Yeah.
Mm. So now that we have an input, or now that we have a listing, we can like, well, here's kind of just like the stream of thought way of doing it. Like listing, if no listing, then
Oh, right, because it
or
could not
not return,
exist. Yep.
say throw new user input error. I'm not getting the autocomplete, but maybe that's because we already
Let me try the thing.
have it.
Do we already have it? No.
No,
Okay. I
that's
think if you hit command, so I think if you hit Control Spacebar, it will bring up the menu.
oh.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's right. It's kind of like graphical. Does it work for you?
Oh, yeah, it
Yeah,
does.
yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
And so we in here we'd say like listing does not exist. And then below we can say like if listing.user_id is not equal to user.id, then we throw new forbidden. Let's see if this works. Forbidden.
You might have to type it out first. Yeah.
Okay.
No?
No.
That's
Darn
weird.
it.
Let me see if it works for me. No suggestions.
Strange.
Yeah. Huh.
Well, I'm just gonna go throw this in our
And we'll see what
Pulse server
happens.
lambda.
Yeah.
And yeah, so now we have this series of logical statements. First, we try to find the listing. If the listing doesn't exist, then we throw a user input error. Do you see red underlines all over the code,
No.
or is
Do you?
that me? Yeah, it's
Maybe
so
close the file and
so
open it back
strange.
up. It looks great here.
Yeah, I think my ESLint extension is kind of wonky. It was doing weird things last night as well. I'm just gonna keep charging through.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But
Do you?
then like if the listing exists, then we check to see if the listing user ID matches our user's ID,
Love
and
it.
then say you don't have access. And this will do the trick. But a pattern that I've been using in some of my apps more recently is kind of like the AWS S3 method of doing this. Like basically they say if you try to access a key in S3 that doesn't exist or something that you don't have access to,
It's a
it'll
404.
respond with 403.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 403. Yeah.
It'll anything whether it doesn't exist or you don't have access to it, it'll just respond with the same response. You don't have access to this resource. Yep. And the logic for implementing that is a little bit it's a little bit simpler, because instead of saying like find by pk given an ID, you'd say like find one where it has this ID and user ID is equal to user.id, and then if that listing doesn't exist, then we can always just throw the forbidden error S3 style.
I love it. It's GitHub style too, in a sense. It's like if you don't have
Yeah.
access or it doesn't exist, it 404s you for the repo.
Right.
Yeah.
So like combining them both into one rather than like checking to see
I love it.
existence and then access level, you just kind of like combine them as in one. And then this like query makes more like this is more descriptive of what we're actually looking for.
Yeah.
We want to find a listing whose ID matches the ID passed in and that belongs to the authenticated user, and we can express that in one
query. Yeah.
Query.
So
anyway,
now
yeah.
we can copy this right down into the delete listing, basically, right? It's about the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? Let's go ahead and do that. All right, yeah, that's going to be the same. Yeah, except
And then,
this needs to change here.
mhm.
Args. And then, oh, we don't actually, it's a bit different.
For our args for delete listing could just be an
Yeah,
ID.
exactly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly.
so we don't even need this whole line. But it's still going to be, oh wait, do we want to do that or are we still going to do input? I mean, that is the age-old question.
Yeah, my opinion on this is if you have just one argument, it doesn't make sense to have it nested in like a second level,
Yeah.
like an nested in an input.
Yep.
But inputs are really useful. The main use case I have for inputs are the fact that I can change how I'm using an input in my resolver and like the input in my schema. And then when I go and make that change on the client side, I don't need to change the client side query. The client side query is still just giving an input
Yep.
object, and it just knows that it has to be of type, create listing input, for example.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then I just need to make sure that I provide it in the as a variable in my query. And um, so that speeds up that process a little bit more. But if I'm only ever using one argument, like in a delete listing mutation, we're only ever going to need to provide an ID. So I would say that yeah, we can pass on the input in that case.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I agree. I just like sometimes it's the question is like, do you always use inputs or do you only do that when you have multiple parameters? And I think that, there's a lot of people that do both, actually. It's very interesting. Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So yeah, we've got that. And yeah, Peggy, yeah, using the Apollo server errors. I love it. It's a lot so if anyone didn't know, actually, let's share this here. Um, But yeah, Apollo ships with errors to describe lots of things. So it's really cool. Um, Look at this user input error, right? So there's all kind of cool stuff. Yeah, definitely check this out. If you were not
Mhm.
aware, database error. Look at this. Boom, boom, error.
And if you want to get really specific with these errors, you can also you can pass it. I think it's like a property called invalid args, um, where you can like specify
Which ones?
specific, yeah, specify what arguments might have caused the problem and
Amazing.
stuff like that.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
cool.
believe that
Oh, here we go.
the docs
Invalid
talk about
args.
that.
Object.keys.args. Yeah, so you can. There it is right there. Very cool.
Hmm.
Very cool. All right, awesome. Loving it. Lots of learning today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, cool. So let's see what we got. So we've got this. So now we need to, well, one, save it. And I think, yeah, next, sorry, I'm following you. It looks like we're not using the user input error anymore. So I'll go ahead and take that out. Because now we're,
Oh yeah, good
yeah,
call.
now we're doing that trick. Well, I would love to take the credit, but really it's the theme in VS Code and like TypeScript is and all that is responsible for this. Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is like true for 90% of my development, which is why I know that control spacebar option because like when I just get stuck, I just hit control spacebar and try things out until it
Yep,
works. All
it's a
jokes,
panic button.
yeah, it's panic button. All jokes aside, that's how I got through my entire stream with Ellen because like I know nothing about Swift, so I just
Oh, cool.
constantly used
Rely on IntelliSense.
IntelliSense. Oh yeah. This is one thing I
Oh.
love about type languages. Like don't know Java, just IntelliSense your way through.
It's like those the people are like, say this word and then hit the autocomplete like button on your smartphone until it forms a sentence.
Yeah.
You could probably get away with the same thing
Write your
writing
app.
your first Swift. It's like, yeah, write this keyword and then keep IntelliSensing until you have a fully built app and like post what you have.
That's amazing.
The
Ugh.
new challenge.
That would be amazing. Okay. All right. So let's go to the client, right? Let's start making this
But
functionality work. I think is next.
yes, sir. Let's do it.
Oh, well, that's not the client. It's still in VS Code. We just need to go to the file browser. Okay. But boom, because this is a Gatsby app. So when I say client, really, it's just one page right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, and there is no server. I've just been working on a project that has a client and server, so it's like on my brain. All right, so we've got our job listings. So here we're mapping over them. So this looks like a primo spot to start adding some functionality around updating and
Mhm.
deleting, right?
Yeah.
So I guess deleting is going to be the simplest. We can just add a delete button. Um,
Let's do that first.
Yeah, you want to do that first? Should we make it its own little component there, or just go ahead and let's inline this button? Well, we're using Chakra, and like, who cares? Let's just inline it real quick. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so we have our listing, which has the heading, and then if it has a description, it will do the description. So right below it, we can just say button. On click, we'll come back and fill this out, but it's going to look something kind of like um, delete listing, and it's going to get listing.id. We'll just like pseudocode that
Sure.
button. Do we have icons? Chakra has icons, right? Do we want to just write the
Yeah.
word delete, or do we want to like put a fun icon with it? We could do both.
Let's do yeah, we can do both actually
All right.
with the chakra button.
Oh, that's right. It supports it as a property, right?
Yeah, so you can
Ooh.
just say icon right or right icon or left icon, whatever we prefer. Let's do
Yeah.
left icon equals maybe delete is one that they have. Let's see. Um, I'm not seeing this
While
in my
you're looking
Boko.
that up, I'm gonna grab the link to this project
Mm,
because Mr. Wiki, yeah, asked about it in chat. So let me go do that real quick.
okay, cool. Um, so right now our list queries, or I mean our list listings query. What do we call it? Oh, we just call it job listings. um, is broken because we left a few things kind of like incomplete in our API.
Oh, oops. Oh
Um,
yeah, that makes
but
sense.
we can go through and fix all those. I'm just gonna be I'm in the GraphQL.js file at update listing right now.
Okay, all right.
So
So
the
let me just save that and then we can move on. Update listing. Let me go back and follow you for a while. Boop. All right. What did we
okay.
leave? What did I break?
So the main thing is that we're using await here in both the update and
Oh, and they're
delete
not async functions.
resolvers. So we need to make these two
Yeah.
async. That's one part. But then we also created these update and delete
Oh, it never added them
resolvers.
to the schema.
And yeah, exactly. So why don't we do that right now? I'll let you
Yeah, yeah.
um, drive there.
And just like note to everyone, this is why you don't do resolver first GraphQL development. This is why you start from the schema.
It's so funny. Yeah, when we were going when we just like started doing it, we're like, yeah,
Resolver first.
resolver first. Let's go.
And
uh,
it only took 5 seconds to get bit. All right, here we go. So update listing. That's going to take an input, which is going to be an update listing input, which does not exist yet, but it will. And that will return a listing. Um, Also, I don't know if we're returning. We are returning the result of that. Yeah. Okay, cool. So you're taking care of that. So we also have delete listing. And this just takes an ID, which is a what? A string? An ID? Is that how that works? I'm not sure what the type needs to be there. And also returns a listing. No? Yes. What does it return? Still should return the listing that was deleted, correct? Oh, I lost audio for you. Is that on my end?
whoops, I muted
Ah,
myself by
cool.
accident.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I was agreeing with you. We should have it have the ID be an ID type,
Got it.
and yes, return the listing.
Cool.
And we'll actually touch on that again in just a second.
Yeah.
I'm just creating our update listing input.
Oh,
It'll
nice. Yeah.
basically follow the same format as our create listing input,
Yep.
and in terms of the nullability of these different fields, but with the addition of this
ID.
ID property.
Yeah.
And then if we go back down to the listing, delete listing mutation, you'll see like we return listing destroy, and this destroy method, if you mouse over it, actually you can see the function signature.
Returns void, looks like, actually.
That's interesting. I was under the impression that it returns the number of listings that were deleted by the operation.
Oh.
But in any case, we can be sure that this does not actually return the listing that was destroyed.
Right.
So what we'll have to do here is just say await listing destroy
And then return.
and then return listing.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah.
And listing to update, this does return the listing, I believe, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's that? Let me
Yeah.
do my hover
So
thing.
if you hover it over,
Yeah.
you'll see.
Yep. Cool. Oh, God, I love types. Like, how can you not enjoy types? Oof. All right. You know what? That's
Some
something
kind of
that
a
I don't want to
monster.
get into. Some kind of how dare you, sir? What, ma'am? Why do you return the listing on deletion? So that's a very good question from Patrick, either Pi or PY. And so I think, well, for one, there's a couple things about Apollo behavior as far as like cache, right? Invalidation. Does it matter if you delete a listing or do you have to manually update the cache yourself there?
We're gonna have to manually update the cache, but that's exactly the reason why we want to return the listing. Basically, we could do one of two things: return the listing, or just return the ID of the deleted listing. Because when that request gets fulfilled, we're gonna want to modify our cache and say remove the listing that was just deleted from the cache. In order to do that, we need to know that listing's ID. And so that's why I said, we could just return an ID, but I kind of like the way that this looks, where all of our create, update, and delete mutations return the listing that they created, updated, or deleted. And then what we're going to work on in just a few moments is doing that that update following the delete operation, uh, and removing it from our local cache. And that's why we have to return the listing.
Yeah, it's nice. It's also like a matter of like reference. Sometimes it might not be as easy to access the listing from wherever. Like maybe you only have the ID whenever delete listing is called, but you need to do something with the UI and you need more
Sure.
information about it. There's a couple different reasons, but yeah, it can't hurt, I would say, right?
Yeah, that a great example of what you just described is like if we wanted to show a toast or like a little notification saying uh, job listing name was
Right.
deleted,
Yep.
because we have a reference of that now deleted listing. We could easily
Yep. Which would be
respond to
much
that kind of
exactly.
behavior. Yeah.
And that would be a lot harder to pull off because we're mapping over these listings. And so we're down inside of here. So we only have the ID at this point. Otherwise, like, we'd have to do some more complex things to accommodate that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So,
All right, I'm following you now.
okay, so you're following me now. All right, so we're back on the client. So server's good, right? Or the Apollo server, like our GraphQL server is good. So now
Yep.
here we just have yeah, so we need to define delete listing,
Mm-hmm.
which means we need like the mutation and all that fun jazz. So let's go ahead and do that. So it would be like const, and then it's going to be the function. So we'll call it delete listing. And then we could do error. Let's do the loading. We're going to want the loading. So there's another. Wait. This is an array. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll take this one. Okay. So that is like that. And then this is the object. And here we want loading so that they don't hit delete like multiple times.
Hmm.
Use mutation, which we don't have, but should get imported now. And then we'll say we don't have this yet either, but we'll do delete job listing. Yeah, so that looks good. But now we need, let's just duplicate this.
Sure.
Oop.
What do you think about calling it just delete listing to match
That's a
the
lot. That's a
mutation
lot
name?
better. Yeah, I didn't even see that, but yeah, we'll do that. I'll change it.
Okay, I'll fix the one down here.
Cool. Okay.
There we go.
All right. So delete listing, and then the input is going to be. Oh wait, just an ID. It's going
Yeah.
to just be ID. Inputs. Oh, oh wait. Oops. This is $ID. There we
Yeah.
go. $ID. Okay. Cool. Um.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we're back in our component here, what I'm noticing is that like we fire off our query and then we also get this like we have this use mutation hook defined up here in a place where it's not like we're still kind of in this state of we might or might not have any data to work with in the first place.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah.
So one like a pattern that I use is just kind of like scoping hooks to like contexts where they're actually for sure
Going to
being
be
used.
used. Yeah, I
So
love it.
for example, like that would mean like maybe breaking this part of the component out into its own component and then defining the use mutation or
Yep.
like using that use mutation hook in there. Or even if we wanted to get even more granular,
In the
I
button.
think you pointed this out. Yeah, like we could just
Yeah.
create a delete button that
I love
takes
it.
a listing as a prop, and then that's the only thing that uses the mutation. And in that case as well, it means that we can have like one mutation per button,
Yes.
or one mutation per listing, really.
Yep.
And the kind of like the ergonomics around that are kind of nice.
I like it.
Cool.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
Oop. Oh, you've already got. Yeah, here we go. Let's snatch this. Um, cool. Cool. Uh, this still needs an ID. Now the question becomes, well, no, I still think just the ID is like the only data we need, right? Yeah. Cool. There we go. Oh, you're muted again.
Whoopsies! I took a sip of coffee and didn't want to gulp on stream. But I was just going to say that with Chakra, for these kind of Boolean props like disabled or required or whatever,
Yeah,
they actually use this camel case is disabled, um, and
that's
they
right.
actually also provide a handy is loading
Mm,
um, prop
that's right.
which renders a spinner there, which might be nice, but yeah, the spinner thing maybe is like distracting if it's a really um,
Yeah.
quick interaction. That's actually a kind of a funny topic, like when to use what kind of loading indicator.
Hmm.
Like in some cases, just disabling the input if it's only going to be disabled for 100 milliseconds, when for the request to come back and forth, then that might be a more natural feeling interaction. Whereas like adding a spinner or a bar or something like that feels jarring.
Lengthy. Yeah, exactly. Not to mention that our button has an icon, and then having an icon and the loading icon, in my opinion, would
Bad
be
news.
a lot. Yeah, it'd be a lot to handle.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, that's a very good point. Like, yeah, if you're loading maybe a lot of data for some like data visualization, it's going to take a little while or whatever. You want like some kind of more fancy loading or let people know some work is happening. But yeah, if
Yeah,
it's quick, just disable it and move on, you know?
yeah, for sure. One other thing I just picked up is that where we're calling when we're rendering our delete button component, we just need to add a
Oops.
listing
Thank
dot
you.
id there. No
Yeah.
worries.
Good catch. Programming for the win.
Yeah, and then now back up in our delete button component, we have
Shing.
our ID, our listing ID provided as a prop, and
Oh, yeah, go
um,
ahead.
like we were calling delete listing and passing in the ID as an argument. Um, like what we might want to do is go like
Oh,
variables,
variables.
right? Like this is one thing that we could
Uh, yeah.
pass in variables, but because this mutation hook is like scoped to the listing,
Yeah.
we can actually throw all this stuff up
Right
in
up here,
there.
right?
Yeah, and then
Boom.
our on click can
Just
just be
delete
delete
listing.
listing. Exactly.
Oh, so succinct.
That's kind of nice.
It is nice.
And now let's see if this renders first of all.
Okay. Okay.
Um, just want to
Okay.
get
Oh,
that on the page.
yeah, there we go. Oh, wait. But where's our button?
Let's see. Yeah, where is our button?
Delete listing is
That's
not defined. On line 70.
nonsense.
Unless this used mutation. Is this being imported? Yeah, okay. Interesting.
I'm not getting any errors here.
Failed to compile. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Now it's
yeah.
compiled. Maybe there was something.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, errand
True.
data. Let me go back. Let me go back. Let's see. Let's see what's going on.
Works now.
Oh, and now it's there. Odd. Okay, cool. Should I delete one?
Let's not delete it yet. What do you think about let's try
Goodbye.
writing our update function first and then
Okay,
seeing if that works.
sure. I like it. How do we want to display update? So first, yeah, this is a lot. Update's a lot different. Do we want to reload the form? Do we want to like how are we even gonna do update?
Well, we can just like um, what we're going to want to do is get a list of all the current listings and then update our cache with all of the listings minus the one that
Oh, you
that we
mean
just
update the
just got back.
cache.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
yeah,
thought you
yeah.
meant updates, like add the functionality for updating a
Oh,
listing.
man,
My B.
semantics are hard. Fuck.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're
Okay.
talking about creating and deleting and updating, and then also updating after deleting.
Oh,
We're gonna have to also update after. Oh no, we won't have to update after updating, but we do have to update after creating and update after
yes.
deleting. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Whew. Okay. So we do that here, right? We get like an
Yeah,
update
exactly.
function, and
Yeah.
that gets
We
the
get a
response.
cache.
Yeah, we get a cache and the
Cache
response.
data. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. And this is also why it's good to return the whole listing because who knows what you might need to do like in this update function as well. Like what
Mhm.
if there's other things that are related off of another property other than the ID of like the listing or something like that.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we
I'll
want to
do
read query, write query, right?
exactly. Yeah. You can take the wheel there.
All right. Cool. Let's do it. So const. This would be, I guess, listings.
Hmm.
equals await cache dot read query, and then we need our query.
Hmm.
Do we have that yet?
Yeah, that would be our job listings query.
Oh yeah, job listings. Perfect. Okay. So job listings. Oh wait. With read query, you don't have to pass like options, right? It's just
Yeah,
the
so
query.
the way that you would do it is you
Oh,
say
it is
query
query.
like that.
That's
Yeah.
right. Okay. I can never remember that. Okay,
And
cool.
then
But now,
just a couple other things while we're here. Cache read query is actually a synchronous operation, so we don't need to await it.
oh duh. Yeah.
And the return value is like a data, the same way
Data.
that data
Yeah.
would return from a use query hook or something. So to get
Yeah.
listings, we could just destructure
Data
listings from
dot
data.
listings. Yeah. And then we have to say, well, we want to write to the query, but first we want to, I guess we could like kind of do it right in line because we're just doing a
Oh
filter.
yeah,
Yeah, so we could just say cache write query, and here it's the query is job listings. Oh, no, not that one. That one.
that one.
And then data is we need to put listings back, right? Like, don't we have to?
Exactly.
So then here it's going to be listings. Listings dot filter, and then listing, and listing dot id is not equal to data dot listing dot id or data dot id.
We'd just be looking for data dot delete listing. It would actually be the key
Oh, right, that's
that
right,
our response is coming from,
that's right.
and
Delete
then
listing
dot
dot
ID.
id. Yep. Cool.
Cool.
All right.
As
Yeah.
Elon Musk would say. All
Yeah.
right. Did you see that Instagram post I sent you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So freaking good. Um, ha
Okay.
ha ha ha. Um,
All right.
yes,
All right.
this should do the trick, I think. Um, and
I
then
love the encapsulation here.
me too.
Yeah.
And then one other thing I want to do just for fun, and this is so extra, but I want to try anyway.
So
On
extra.
completed,
Ah.
um, it takes data and it allows us to do something once the mutation's completed. And I like to like technically you could probably do the same do like have these side effect things inside update as
Yeah,
well.
but yeah.
But this is kind of fun and or it's not just fun. It's like it's a nice separation of concerns. Update is specifically the cache updates that you're doing, and on completed is for doing like page navigation or displaying a
Yep.
status or something like that. And so,
Yeah.
we mentioned
Firing off
before
an
about
animation or something, like
yeah.
anything. Yeah.
So we talked a minute ago about using like displaying a toast when our thing gets deleted. So I'm gonna show you guys how we might implement that using the Chakra
Ooh,
toast
toast? Oh,
API.
I love
So
it.
with Chakra, they handle toasts using this uh, use toast hook, and it's
Okay.
not auto completing for me,
Yay, let me see if I can get it to.
fortunately,
Yeah, you
or it's
use
not auto
toast. Chakra
importing.
core. Well,
Okay.
now oh, sorry. I double toasted you, but
Toast.
it should be imported now, at least. All right,
All right.
cool.
Cool.
So
And
now
so
what do we do
now
with the toast? Yeah.
we just call toast, and we can use this use toast options, which I can't seem to click for some reason.
Oh, nice. I don't see you
Uh,
clicking anything.
shoot. I would normally like option click it,
Here we go.
but
Description, duration,
all right.
on close, position, status, render, title.
Cool. So for now, let's just give it a title
Okay.
of um, uh, success,
Love it.
description. We'll say
Listing deleted.
data dot delete listing dot what was is it title?
I think it's title. Yeah.
was deleted, and then
Amazing.
status is success.
Yeah. And so this is an exact use case of exactly why you would want to return the entire listing and not just the ID. This right here alone is like
Yeah.
the UX is great. That's cool. This is really cool. And so now we have to implement toast somewhere as a component, right? Like that can't just
Surely we must, but let's give this a try.
Okay.
Let's go. Why don't you go ahead and
All
try
right, I'm gonna
deleting the
delete the
listing?
one.
And
Wait,
in
there's one
all
more thing I
likelihood,
want to do. There's one more
yeah.
thing I want to do because right now we have a really bad UX where if something were to happen and someone accidentally clicks delete, it's gone. And so
It's
real
gone
quick, I just
forever.
want to add a confirm to our delete button to make
Love
sure.
that.
So we will have to go back here and um, change this back to being a function, but I think that it's worth it
Okay.
because we don't want to delete our listing unless they are very sure, right? Like I
Yeah.
know I would want to be confirmed first. Oops, it's still broken. What did I do? If one more, I need another. No, I need a I need a yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Now unexpected use of yes. What is it? Global? You have to say like global in Gatsby to confirm. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Right? This is good? We're good here? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Let's see if it works.
All right.
I've
Boop.
never used confirm before.
Are you sure? I am sure.
Oh my God.
Disabled? Oh my gosh. Where did you come from? Where? What? What?
Just snuck up on you there.
Yeah, it did. That was trippy. Shout out to Chakra. Thank goodness I didn't have to. I was expecting some sort of provider or something or component that you had to have like at
Hmm.
above the rest of your app or something like that. You know what I mean? That was really cool. I'm really curious to know how that's implemented. Is that using portals? Yeah, Mr. Wiki, that is awesome, right? That is pretty neat. Pretty neat though. Cool. And the cache got cleared and the UI updated and we received our toast. That was amazing. Here's a toast to our toast.
Hmm.
All right, cool. So like, what do we do next?
So that pretty much wraps up our delete listing story.
Yeah.
Now we want to be able to update a listing. So
Yep.
I think for that, what we could do is just start with like an update button.
Okay, so here we go. Um, yeah, that could be added to dad jokes or dev jokes as well. That's funny. Okay, so here's the thing. Uh, I think we want at this point we kind of want new routes, right? Like, do we want like how do we want to go about the update? A modal, or do we want to have a new route for the update where it's like we have the form and it's all filled in for you with the listing, or like do we just put it in this form and change the text to update listing? Like, what do you want to do? What's the UX here?
I kind of like the idea of having it in a modal. That way, like you can, it's just kind of like in in place. You can make changes if you can easily like back out by just closing the modal.
Yep,
Um,
yep,
and then yeah, like that's kind of how I've typically done this kind of thing for in the case of our listings, like they're pretty simple entities. They're just made up of a few text fields.
yeah,
um, but here's a few things we can consider. um, like when we're using this form, what one thing we can do first of all is like share this form, the create the job listing form that we've already built. We can kind of generalize it so that we use the same form between the two things.
yep,
um, and uh, and then yeah, just like throw that in a modal and
yeah.
wire up a mutation. Bada boom, bada bing.
I love it. I love it. Okay, let's do it. Let's you
Cool.
want to steer a little bit on this and then
Would love to, yeah. So what
let
I'll
me
do
follow you.
first
Take us
is
away. Oh wait,
okay.
should I commit here? I feel like
Yeah,
this is a
why
good
don't you
commit spot.
commit? Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're committed.
Okay.
All right. So now, where are you though? I should be following you. Index.js 127. Well, how did I lose you? There you are. Found you. Okay, cool.
Okay. So I'm just gonna create a component, and maybe this is starting to get to a point where
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
might be useful to start splitting these components out into their own files. But um, let's just keep charging forward, get the update function done, and then maybe we can circle back. And I can't believe I used the term circle back. Um, what am I, a project manager?
Yeah.
Uh,
Let's circle back in a few days and we'll clean this up.
um,
Okay.
yeah, we can like revisit this and just spend a
Oh
few
man,
minutes.
you're on
Uh,
fire. We're gonna revisit it. What's
yeah,
next?
man. Yeah,
All right.
we'll consult our OKRs and see how we're doing at that point. All right,
I love it.
I'm gonna make a component called update button. It's gonna return a fragment with just a button inside for now,
Okay.
and this button will say update. And the reason I return a fragment is because I'm gonna return a button, but there will also be a modal tied to each button.
Right.
I know that this button is going to take some props, and in particular, the listing that is being updated. And I know that it's going to have to implement some kind of state. So like we'll call this state modal open. Oh my gosh, what was that?
That was
Set.
insane. What was that?
That was the longest continuous string. Let's see if I can make it happen again. Oh,
Yeah, I think if you misspell open,
modal.
try like
Oh,
ON or something or
oh,
OE. Oh well, it's gone forever.
oh. Hey, that's a pretty big one too.
I don't see
Darn
it
it.
on my side, and I saw the one that you had. Oh well.
All right. We only see it once. It's like the Loch Ness monster. I saw it and it was gone in a blink of an eye.
That
And
was
now,
like a.
before I know it, chat will deny that it ever happened. What string? I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
There'll be a documentary about it in a couple years.
Yeah, the government tried to erase it from our memories.
Oh yeah.
It's a conspiracy. Okay, and we're gonna take advantage of use state for this. Are we using use state? Yeah, we are. Okay.
Yeah. That was
So
so
modal open
fast.
will be place by default. Just kidding. It'll be false.
Place.
It'll be false by
Okay.
default. And then I'm just going to create two. I guess I can. I don't even need to create any special functions. This button, when it's clicked, it will
Open the
set
modal.
modal open to true. And then the modal itself, I'm going to import from Chakra UI.
Chakra, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, I'll take care of that. Oh, you got it.
Oh, thanks.
Never mind.
Actually, I'm going to take care of it because I'm going to need to import modal and then a few other things
Oh, like
like
there's probably an overlay and
modal
stuff like that.
header,
Oh,
modal
nice.
footer, modal
Would you
close.
mind if we went and looked at that real quick? Because like it's
Would
cool that
love
you know
to.
and want to pull it in, but yeah, I kind of want to just go check
Yeah,
that out. I'm gonna
pop
bring up
open
the
the Chakra
browser. Yeah.
and right at the top of their docs here, they have a section saying that Chakra exports 8 components to help you create any modal dialogue.
All right, so let's look at modal. Sorry, hang on, I'm catching up there.
Mm-hmm.
Modal. Boom, a dialog window. Ah, yeah, got it. Exports 8 components. It sure does. Oh, that's too big. Okay, that's good. That's legible. All right, yeah. Okay, so modal overlay, modal content, footer, body, close button.
Yeah.
But
So
let's
really,
try it out. Oh, nice.
we'll be taking advantage of all of these. to
I
create
love it.
our modal.
Okay, cool. So now that we know what we're working with, we can jump back
Hmm.
here. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool.
So what I've done is I've gone ahead and imported all of these 8 components, or maybe I've only gotten 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can count. That's good. Um,
That's a useful skill to have, right?
really is underrated skill. And
Yeah.
the way that we compose these components looks something like this. First, you're going to want to have a modal overlay at the lowest, or yeah, like in terms of the HTML stacking order, the lowest point, and then
Okay.
stacking a bunch of other stuff on top, starting with the modal content. That's the actual, white box that shows up, containing our form and our titles and things like that.
And Chakra has the stack components, which maybe it's probably like applying to this under the hood, or
I don't think in this case,
it's
when I'm
just
talking about
like
stack, I'm just talking about like the way that components overlay each other, or elements
got
overlay
it.
each other in HTML. Again, nomenclature is
Got
there
it.
to destroy us.
It's
Um,
interesting to me that the overlay is inside of the modal.
right, right. Um, yeah, I think that the modal, yeah, I mean, like it's just probably a
I get
design
it.
decision from their
Yeah.
end, like a software
Oh,
design
I get it.
decision.
Yeah. Yeah, because the modal is going to be the whole window, and overlay is the background inside of that, and then your content is
Mhm.
stacked on top of that, and then
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I
And
dig it.
there's also instances where you might not want an overlay,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
and so that this allows you to easily do this. But if the overlay existed outside of the modal, it would mean that you need to affect the the display of both of these components at once.
Yes. Yeah.
Versus this way, I could easily just say modal is open and set that
Yep.
to modal open, and then it affects this and everything within it.
Yeah, I like
And
that. And
this
maybe
is
I'm
actually
making that up. Maybe I thought it was like Reach UI modal that was like that, but maybe it's inside as well, and I am uh,
yeah,
super
potentially.
incorrect, which is like the most likely dialogue.
Let's take a look at what they're doing.
Dialogue, where are the dialogue components? And again, so I guess I'm
Like
wrong.
in certain things, like for example, the material UI dialog, rather than like I said, this is kind of like a software design
Yeah.
question where, like in material UI, they have the overlay and like the the actual box that you render your content in
Now I remember.
baked
Yeah.
in as part of their dialogue component.
Yeah.
And
Eh,
Chakra has opted for a more like compositional approach where
Yes. Yes.
we give you all the pieces and you have to put them together however you
So
want.
what? Yeah. So what Reach does is combine both of those, and this is what I was missing. So dialogue itself has the overlay as
Mm,
well. If you want lower level things like you want to control the content and like all that stuff, you can then use these components on their own. So then you can use dialogue overlay, but then dialogue content has to be within the overlay. And then you can like, I guess, change that if you want. But yeah,
I see. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I guess like you would just use dialogue 9 times out of 10, I would
Yeah.
imagine. Yeah, yeah. What's the difference? Yeah. But okay, cool. Yeah. All right. Let's
Interesting.
do it. Yeah, it is
Cool.
interesting.
Well,
I
just
was
pressing on. What were we gonna say? You were what?
Oh, no, I was just say I'm always interested to see how the same like UI and UX thing like patterns are implemented across different frameworks.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
fun.
Me
Yeah.
too. It is really interesting. Like the way that these guys did it. The you opting out of showing an overlay means deleting the modal overlay component, whereas
Yeah.
some other libraries might have a prop that's like
Yeah. Overlay.
is
Yeah.
overlay disabled or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's trippy.
Um,
Cool.
but yeah, it's one of those things where there's just a million ways to do everything.
Yeah.
in React or in JavaScript, or if you want to get real broad, like in
In
programming in
programming.
general.
Yeah.
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 So it is fun. It's fun to see how people design their software. It really kind of like it it tells you a bit about how they see the world without reading into it too deeply, though.
Yeah.
But
I've seen your code. I know you now.
yeah, I know you better than you know yourself. I saw how you implemented that modal. Um, so modal header, we'll just give it a title of like update listing,
Love it.
and then we'll say modal close button. Just render that,
Yep.
and this will get hooked up automatically
Love it.
by Chakra's modal component, and then
Love me some
we
magic.
have modal body, and that's where we're going to eventually put our form.
Yes, form here. I love it.
And then finally modal footer,
Ooh,
where that's just going to
like
house
our update stuff,
um,
right?
this is just going to house our buttons. Yeah, we're going to have one button here in here that says cancel,
Mhm.
and then another button that says save changes.
Not to derail
And
us, but I thought my
yeah,
AC was like broken. I've just been adjusting it for like 10 minutes trying to get it to shut off, and like it would not shut off forever, and it's freezing in here now. It's off. So
whoa.
things should
Are
return
you
to
talking about
normal.
your Apollo client or your air conditioning?
Ooh, yeah, no, my air conditioning. Yeah, definitely talking about air conditioning.
Okay, okay. That makes sense because Apollo client it actually doesn't break.
Exactly.
So it couldn't have been Apollo client.
Never. And if it was, I would have known because I would have gotten a specific Apollo error. So
Yes, exactly.
uptime, yeah.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
Um,
All right.
impressed.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, what I've done is just added some stuff to our modal. I gave it an is open prop, and then finally I'm just going to give it an on close prop. And that's what it's going to use to hook up the modal close button. And this will just be a function
Uh,
that sets modal
Open.
open to false.
Right.
But we also have this cancel button,
Um,
and cancel should also set modal open to
yeah,
false.
I like it.
Unless what were you going to say?
Nope, nothing. I once I read through this a little bit more, I realized why we're not like doing some kind of toggling thing that's specifically on close. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool, cool, cool.
Um, I mean, one thing that comes to mind is like, why have the cancel button at all? Because you already have this close
I
button.
think we should.
But I kind of like to have it be like explicit, especially positioning it beside the save changes option. It presents somebody with two pathways.
Yes.
You can save your changes or you can back out. But since we're going to be doing this exact same operation, setting modal open to false,
Make it a
what I'm going to do
function.
is just yes, sir. We're going to call this function close modal,
Function junction. Close modal.
and it's just going to call set modal open and pass it false. And now I can use this function um, in here. There we go.
On click, use modal. I almost said use click, but it's not use click.
So now we have our update button. I'm going to go ahead and add that to our listing listing list. Today's a wacky word day, I gotta say. Uh, and then we're just gonna pass it. We know that we're gonna need to use the listing within this
Yeah.
component, so we'll pass it as a prop, and we'll get to actually using that prop in a moment. But first, let's just see that it actually works. So now, if you refresh the page, you can click on update.
Hang on.
You'll see our modal.
Let me get back there. Go back. Oh, I already have update button. Here we go. Boop. Form
Wonderful.
here, please. Cancel. This looks amazing. Save changes.
Cool.
Can we do a variant on the save changes just so that it's
Would love to. What do you think? Like a different variant or a different color?
Oh, sorry. I guess a different color because
Sure.
But I think a variant color is what it's called, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, okay,
It's all
sure.
yours.
Oh, oops, I'm in the wrong spot. That's where your cursor is. But yeah. So variant color, and then I don't know. I guess we need a color for our app at this point because we don't really have one.
Yeah.
Sh-
We're all great.
yeah, should we just? I'm gonna pick purple for now. Purple's cool. I like purple.
Sounds good to
All
me.
right, so let's go back. Hit update. Yay! And now we've got purple. That's a lot better. I like it.
Beauty. Yeah, purple suits
So
this.
now my question is for our delete button um, and our update button, should we add a variant to? Oh, we got a follow and it worked. Hey yo, did you see that? Oh man, the little animation
I
came up.
did.
It was nice.
Love it.
All right, cool. So I'm just excited, everyone, because if you weren't here in the beginning, this scene, most of what you're seeing aside from my monitor in the video is a React app, and it's using a GraphQL server and subscriptions for those follows. And it was actually a huge pain in the butt to program that because the way that follows behave, it's pretty interesting. But it was fun. Oh, we got another one. Yes. And if you get
Yeah.
follows back to back, the sound starts to play faster and faster and faster until it stops, until a certain amount of time has passed between follows. But yeah,
Yeah.
fun
You know
fact.
what to do, Chad. You know what to do.
Yeah, you know what to do, Chad. If you ain't following, you need to be.
We gotta get that
Yeah, I
sound
want to
jacked
hear the
up.
sound going. It's really fun. But yeah, um,
Yeah, Aracime and Skills in 21. Thank you guys for the follow,
thank
and
you.
it's a
Yeah.
pleasure to have you here.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah, so someone was saying this. So 720p 60 is too high for my internet, and I need to figure out how to do other resolution options. I'm not sure how that works. I'm gonna try and figure it out because that stinks. I want you to see what we see, and yeah. So I'll do some research on that.
I'm kind of surprised that it's not just something that
Twitch handles.
Twitch or OBS does by default.
Yeah. Yeah, well, on OBS's side, it's just pumping out the same thing.
Yeah,
It would be on Twitch to read the internet like connection between it and I guess that client and
right?
then
Yeah.
figure out. Yeah, so it's weird.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
and you change the setting and it's just probably still not good. Okay. But either way, I'll do some research.
Good to know.
Yeah, I will definitely do some research. Sorry about that. And I've been asked about this and then honestly did not get around to it. I totally forgot. So let
Mm.
me figure what the dilly is. At least get information so if this happens, I'm better prepared. Okay. All right. So real quick, diving back in, what if we style this delete button so that it's scarier and then
Sure.
yeah, and give a little space maybe to these components?
Let's space them out. I think we can probably make these buttons a little
A little
smaller
smaller,
too.
way smaller, way smaller. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so jumping back to VS Code. So update button. We got to go into the button to do that because here, yeah,
In the
we got
button?
to go into the button.
It's in the computer?
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of. Zoolander. All right. Yeah. Bum, bum,
So I'm
bum.
just giving the delete button some scarier properties, and um, yeah, if you want to, or are you in the update button?
I am not. I'm
I'm
set
right
to
here.
follow you, so I was just kind of I could have
Okay.
done it, but yeah, I didn't even think about it to be honest. I was actually looking in OBS. I was checking something.
Perfect. Well, there we go. Now we have spaced out and scarier buttons. Um,
Spaced out.
that should that should do the
That looks
trick for
great.
now.
Looks good to me.
Like in the end, we might do something different than just like having these words written out for everyone. Like an example is, maybe beside each entry we have like an options button, or like a dot 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 kind of
I
button,
like it.
and have those to edit and delete options, within a menu. That way we're not writing update and delete,
Yeah.
every row.
Oh yeah.
It could just like get a little wordy, but It's like similar to the way that like a post on Twitter or Facebook or you name it, they'll hide those like
More
less
options.
commonly used options.
Yes. I love it. Let's do that. You want to do that?
Do you want to do it right now?
Oh, I guess we could not do it because that'll probably take a decent amount of time, but like I kind of want
I
to.
I think I think I think you'd be
Let's
surprised.
do it. Yes, let's do it then.
All right. Okay, so um, we want to, instead of having two buttons, we want to just have one menu, right?
Yes.
So Chakra,
Oh,
let's
of
pop open
course.
the everything I say on this stream will every sentence will begin with
Yeah.
Chakra dot dot dot.
Do you want me to share my screen with you so that you can just follow along through here? Does that make sense? It would only take me a second.
No, no, it's all good. I think we
Okay.
got this. So
Okay,
like
cool.
if you go to the menu docs there,
There's oh my goodness.
and similarly it exports
Whoa.
8 components. That's just got to be some crazy coincidence, right? It's not like they have a mandated 8 components
Must
for
be 8 components.
yeah. They have like some tests written in the back end, like it exports 8 components.
The best part
Uh,
is it's like there would have to be like entire like design decisions like okay, I think it's time to break it up, but we got to figure out what 8 components make
yeah,
sense to export here.
yeah.
Okay, all
But
right.
we tried breaking it out, but we could only come up with 4 components. What should we
Then
do?
it's just one then. It's not ready yet. It's not ready.
So
Oh, new
so they
follow.
have some usage examples in there. Oh snap! Thank you for the follow. Unload me.
Yes,
Cool username.
awesome. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Okay, so
So,
what do we want to do? Should we just copy some of this in or something?
well, what I'll just kind of like make the simplest menu
Let's do
possible, and
it.
it looks like this. You'll have a menu component that wraps a menu button component, and this menu button, in our case, it's going to just be we're going to use an icon button to create this, and um, what let's I'm just going to pop open the Chakra icon docs to see what icons are
Yeah.
available to us.
Oh, there's so many. I'm
There's
kind of
yeah,
curious
there's a
too.
few. There's a few. Maybe like a chevron down button or something like that.
Yeah, I like that. Chevron down works.
Or
Or
set.
dot dot dot. Do they have a dot dot dot?
That's the problem. I don't think they have a dot dot dot,
Can we just put a
unfortunately.
dot 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 in the button with an alt that says like expand or something like that?
Sure. I
There's
think
an edit.
what does edit look like? Oh yeah, maybe.
Eh, we can definitely use it. It makes perfect sense. I'm just not a huge
Mhm.
fan of that icon. But yeah.
Right, right. Well, let's do this. For now, let's just for the purposes of moving quick, let's go
Yeah.
icon um, chevron down.
Down. Yeah, love it.
Okay, and then that's going to be our menu button. That's going to be the
Yep.
thing that triggers our menu open. And then the other thing that we need is a menu list.
List. Okay. Makes sense.
Um, and then in that menu list, we have a series of menu items. Menu item, and we'll call the first menu item um, update and delete. Okay, let's. Oh yeah, and of course we need to import all of these things. So I'm going to take these 4 components here, go all the way back up to the top of my file,
And import them.
and
Yo, look at this import from Chakra.
it's
Right?
pretty
This
juicy.
alone, yeah, this alone is like should let you know it's time to break something up.
Yeah, maybe we do that like next.
I think after we get CRUD, we break it up, and honestly, that
Okay.
seems like a good point to like wrap up for the day. You know what I mean? Like we'll
Yeah.
finish the CRUD operation, get it all cleaned up and broken out, and then that looks good. So Unload Me asked, what's the plugin for this? I want to say it's called Rainbow Indent. Let me just go to my extensions and look. Um, Indent Rainbow. So that, yeah. Oh, awesome. So awesome. Lemore X just gave me the link. More resolution options for viewers. So I'm going to copy that link. Thank you so much and take a look at that later. That is much appreciated.
No,
Thank you for
I'm
taking
actually
the
going
time
to
out.
yeah, I'm going to bookmark that myself. I'm going to need
Yeah.
to do that on my personal stream. Good
Yeah.
looking out,
Thank you.
Lamar.
Seriously. And then, so sorry, yeah, it's Indent Rainbow. And then I'm going to jump over real quick. I need to add, now that we have a chatbot, we can add like uses and like all these things. So we could do like Kurt uses, Trevor uses.
Hmm.
But let me jump back here real quick. Where's Dev? Uses, I just want to get this link because this has, oh, cool, thank you. This
You
post
bet.
has everything that I use in this setup. So like if we come down to VS Code setup, there's like the theming, the extensions, fonts, and all that fun jazz. Oh
Amazing.
no, I just closed. Oh man, I just closed my chat window. Ugh, oops.
Oh no. What have you
It's
done?
fine. I know, but it's fine. Streamlabs for the win. It just stinks because I like to have it right next to there. When it's in Streamlabs, I have to like look away from what we're doing,
I
but
feel
it's
that.
whatever.
Yeah,
It's whatever.
it
Okay.
is.
So yeah, we close
Okay,
this.
so
All right.
now we should have a working menu. Let's take a look. So now we have our menu with that expands. It has an update and
I
delete
like it.
option. Um, and so now the process it would that requires or you know the steps that are required to actually hook it up to our existing update and delete functions or these components. It just means that we need to replace the buttons that we're rendering an update button and delete button with menu items.
Yes. Yes.
So I'll go up here and do that. Menu item for update and set its on click to set modal open with the true
Wow, trippy. We can
argument
do
path.
this.
Yeah. I'm just going to
And
say update listing. And then similarly for our delete button, we'll go and put this up here.
whoa, jumpy. Why is it doing that?
Yeah. It keeps trying to delete anything that I copy and paste. Like it's going to do it
Oh
here, but
yeah.
I just have to.
Oh, that's right. You Command Z it and it stays, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, we'll set um, disabled to loading.
Oh,
That
so that works
should,
on a menu item too?
I believe so. Yeah.
Very cool. Can we add the icon back into our menu item? Do you know?
Let's try. Let's try. We can definitely add an icon just using like an chakra icon component, but I don't know if there's like some kind of icon specific prop that we can use.
Gotcha.
And I'm just trying to
Something
figure
is
out what.
busted. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's something further up in what we did in those buttons. Somewhere one of the here we go. Oh, maybe that just needs to go away? That can't be
Yeah,
right.
that's weird. That's
That
probably a
can't be
side
right.
effect of my. Yeah, try deleting it. There
Yeah.
we go. It's probably a side effect of my strange
That's interesting. Yeah, because
copy
it's
paste
working.
issues. So
Okay. I'll take
now
it.
that that is all in place, what we're gonna do is where are we? Sorry, it's a scroll fest over here.
No
Can't wait to
worries.
break this up.
I
So
know.
now
It's bad.
just take our update button and delete button
Get rid of them.
and just throw them in our menu list like that.
Love it. All right,
Like
let's go take
that.
a look.
And that should do the trick.
Oh, that is a real bummer, Lemore. Only partners are allowed to add multiple stream resolution
Oh,
options.
wow,
I
that is interesting. Yeah, I wonder. I guess it would probably um like there'd be cost on Twitch's side associated with like streaming multiple resolutions, but you'd think it's such like a base level thing. Like
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, we have no idea. But also, you would think that streaming at lower resolution is less bits down the line, which would theoretically be cheaper from like a data
True.
transfer cost perspective. But
Yeah.
the infrastructure to maintain probably the complexity that is like knowing which one to stream, switching if internet connection is better, all of that fun jazz is probably super difficult and complicated.
Hmm.
It's wild. But we actually, so we've reached affiliate status. We just haven't set that up, so we're setting that up. But the easiest way to fix this is to tell everyone if you're enjoying the stream and have them come check us out. Because once we hit partner status, then we'll be able to do more resolutions, and like it also unlocks other features. And we're trying to build a real community here, and we're here for the long haul. So like, yeah, please have more people come check out these streams. Tell them about them if you're enjoying them,
Yeah.
and yeah, the more we grow, the faster we'll get to partner.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Well, now let's just double check here that this stuff is working as expected. And right now, I'm trying to click update listing, and nothing is happening. And
Oh, interesting. Oh,
I have a thought about why that is likely the case. If I click delete listing, I get my confirm. So that's good. That's what we want to happen. But for update
uh,
listing, what's happening to us is that because we're rendering our menu item and our
yeah,
modal
yeah, yeah.
in one thing, when we click on the menu item, uh, this component gets or the menu gets hidden, so the menu item gets unmounted, and the modal goes with it.
Unmounted with it. Yeah.
So
I
the way that we can get around that is
yeah.
um, is actually just like we'll render the we'll sort of change the order, like the way that we're grouping these things. Like we'll render
Yep.
the menu alongside the modal. Um,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Love it. Yeah, so it's just
Um,
kind of like changing the essentially the scope or the level at which the modal lives.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna just take this menu and we'll throw it up in here. We'll take this update listing menu item and we'll put that in place of
The update
the
button
update button. And then we'll just change the name of this update button component
to
to something
menu
like,
menu
yeah,
button.
like listing menu.
Yeah, boom.
All right, that should all look pretty good. Um, and we're still passing in this ID to the delete button, which is what we want to continue doing. But now this ID is going to be available on this props.listing
Right,
rather than
right.
listing straight up. And I can go back down here and render listing
Menu.
menu with the listing prop passed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think so. So now when we go and hit the update listing menu item,
Boom.
the modal shows up, and that's the kind of behavior that we're after here.
That's the kind of behavior I expect. Okay, so I have
Hmm.
one more thing that I want to do.
Okay, go
So
for it. I'm following.
yeah, yeah. So now that we have our menu button, it just kind of looks a little weird just chilling down there at the bottom. So I'm just going to use a little bit of flex magic here to push that up, if that makes
Love it.
sense.
Yeah.
If I could find it. Here we go. Listing menu next to our heading. Oh, but we have a description, so we're just gonna do a little changing. So we'll take this and we'll do flex because that, and I'll just put that in for now, and then we'll put that back and we'll close that flex component. So now those will be flexed already, and then we could just say align equals center, and I guess we'll do justify space between, so that it's like at the
Yep.
end. Yeah. Uh, and let's go see what that looks like. Right?
Cool. Yeah. The one thing that I noticed that
Oop.
might
Oh,
cause
wow. Yeah, we need to like fix, because right now it's the full screen width. But
yeah. Well, for starters, yeah, let's I guess constrain the width of we can constrain the width of the whole app really.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
in within our index component, we have like our logged in state.
Yep.
And let's see, so we have our header, our heading, a log out button, and then we have our create job listing and job listings. And yeah, you can throw those in a box and give them a max width, I guess.
Yeah, we'll just throw them in a box. That sounds so funny, right?
That's all we do, man. We're just
Yeah,
chucking things in boxes
pretty much. And then what do we want to do? Max width and margin
and
auto?
flexing. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, okay. So max width, what are you thinking here? Um,
Well, Chakra has these
oh, that's right.
container keys. Like you can say max w containers.xl or containers.lg
Okay.
using clothing um, size labels.
So it would be container
I think it's
and
containers plural.
oh, that's
Containers
right.
dot.
And then you do this or dot.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And
Dot.
then what do we
Let's
want?
try like LG.
Large? Yeah, okay.
See
Okay.
how that looks.
And then wait, we need our margin auto though, right? Otherwise,
Yep.
but we could do margin X. Yes.
You could do MX.
MX. Okay. Oops. And X is what we want, right? Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Look at that. It's better.
Working?
Yeah. Yeah. I just feel like maybe we actually just want to put the button next to the title wherever it ends.
Sure.
Nah. I don't
I
know.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. All right.
Or I mean the other option is just trying making this a little bit like less
Yeah.
wide,
But then like
narrower, I guess would be the word.
what happens when the title is there? It's still kind of like floaty and spacey. I guess let's
Mhm.
just move it for simplicity's sake.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So now that means then we can get rid of this. We might as well just keep the box. Let's keep that anyway. Um, but now we're gonna just change. There's an A in there. Listing menu. Wait, that's not what we want. We want where it's used. Yeah, here we go. Wait a minute. Yes, listing. Here we go. So actually, we just take off justify and then we'll get what we want.
Yeah, we should.
We might need
Um,
like a margin left or something.
yeah. Let's take a look.
Oof, yeah.
So right now this is supposed to align on the center line, but um, they're kind of misaligned, and the culprit there is that we
They
have a
are?
margin bottom on the heading. Yeah, you'll see
Oh,
when we change that margin bottom from the heading to the parent component, they should line up. It's only 8 pixels, so it's hard to tell. But now they line up.
interesting.
And then we'll give this a margin right of like 4 units, I guess. And
Yeah. There we go. It's so
there we
fun to
go.
watch it update in real time. Like it just moved over because you changed it.
Yeah,
I like it.
me too.
This is really
So,
neat.
all right, what do you say we keep going with the update
Yeah.
form?
Ooh, Patrick had a good idea, and maybe before the title works well too. But I think we'll leave it for now. But yeah, you could
Hmm.
also do that as well.
Yeah, Patrick, the great benefit of that is that the all of those like menu buttons end up staying in line with each other rather than kind of having titles
Yes.
of different lengths. We might
Yep.
have like the menu buttons in different positions as well. But um, yeah, thanks for the suggestion. We might end up doing that after all.
I think so, yeah, at the end. But for right now, let's get this cleaned up and out of
Yeah,
index.js because I'm having trouble even finding where the button is at this point.
me too. Me too. Yeah, it's starting to become a bit of a labyrinth in here.
Yeah.
Um, get the update mutation working first and then split them out, or what do you
Oh,
think?
oops. Yeah, no, let's do that. I totally forgot we were in the middle of doing that. Okay, yeah, let's finish that first for sure.
Freaking tangent central in here.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
It
All right,
always is, man. So this is just the life we live.
that's it. Okay, cool.
All
So
right.
we've got this modal, and
Yeah.
when it opens, so now, oh yeah, yeah, we need to export the form and kind of make this its own thing, essentially.
Yeah, I think so. So, yeah, do you want to drive, or do you want me to keep going here?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, keep going. I mean, you're in flow. Let's do it.
Okay. So, I've got this the create job listing component
Yep.
that we made early on, and this create job listing, it basically renders this form. It's a chakra stack that is using an HTML form element. It has a submit handler, and that submit handler
Right
essentially
now.
just like creates our input that we send to our GraphQL API and fires off our mutation.
Yep.
Um, but we want to try to share kind of as many parts of this as we can. We don't really care about the heading or the
Hmm.
shape of the form, like the box that it lives within. We just care about the form and the mutation stuff that it does. So what I'm actually going to do is just like copy the whole this whole function, and I'm going to create this. This is kind of a, I don't know what to call this technique, but this is something that I've been doing recently when I have to do this type of refactoring. I'll create a new component called like listing form, let's say,
Uh-huh.
and it'll just be equal to everything that this create listing thing did before.
Yeah, I
And now
do
we're going to
this too.
start stripping out
Yeah.
parts that are specific to create listing. We want to make it as generally applicable as possible. So that includes like changing this create listing function to something general like mutate. That's what this function is typically called. So like our mutation function. And then in here, since the mutation GraphQL document that we end up using in this form is going to be different, we can make that configurable using props. So we'll say like props.mutation.
Mutation. Okay.
So this component will accept props now.
Excuse me.
And then in our submit handler, um, let's see. So we're still going to get all of our field values from the form itself,
Mm-hmm.
and all of this looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then we just call create
Mu-
listing,
we call
and what
mutate
we're doing
instead.
here is, or yeah, sorry, you're right, mutate, exactly.
Hey, Too
Passing
Sugary.
variables.
Thank you for the follow.
Woo.
Too Sugary.
Um,
That's a fun name too. That's awesome.
and currently we're using this update function,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
or we're defining an update function when we call mutate. But really, what we could do, like, there's no reason that this update function can't exist, up here in our create form.
Yeah.
There we go. But we don't want to run this update function on on our update listing mutation,
Right.
only our create. So an easy way to make that configurable is to again accept props. We'll say like mutation options is a prop that this component accepts. So
Okay.
now we just call mutate with our
Our
input
input.
variable, and that's it.
Okay.
And then finally, we're gonna just remove all this extra stuff and only return our stack with our submit handler. And I said that was the last thing we're gonna do. There's actually two more things. We're gonna need, this is
Uh-oh.
another thing that needs to be configurable. So create listing can be like props.button text. And then each of these inputs, currently they are just like behave as HTML inputs with no default value. But we can just say
Take
default
control. Yeah.
value is, um, like props dot listing dot title, and kind of do the same thing for
Yeah.
each of these. So I'm
So one
surprised that
fun
that
thing is
yeah.
we won't always have a listing like when we create one.
Hmm.
So we could do the optional chaining on listing.
For sure. Yeah, we could do optional chaining on each of these, or there's like
Or
the second option would be something like if we go
give them
like
defaults.
listing equals this, or using like listing form dot default props and give it a default of an empty array, or third option, our create job listing form could just provide an empty object
Yeah.
as its listing prop. Any of those options work. What are you leaning
Oof.
towards at this point?
I don't want to provide the empty listing prop because that, I mean, unless we add prop types, because that just kind of seems like you have to know the implementation of the
Yep.
form to figure that out. So I am either for the optional chaining or default prop types. Either one of those works for me.
Okay. Let's do optional chaining because we're cool like that.
Yeah.
We
Yeet.
use we use new stuff, guys. Look at us go. Wow. Cool. So that will do the trick for us there. Now we have a generally usable listing form.
What? So now we just gotta
Now,
make some updates.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Two things,
Oh,
if you don't
yeah,
mind, real quick.
go for it.
Number one, I'm gonna remove error and data because we've been getting the warning for these and we're just not using them. So like,
Okay.
goodbye. Second thing is, if we did have an error, it would be kind of cool to show a toast, but I'm not really sure exactly how that would work. Um,
Well, for
we
now,
could do
why don't we like an easy way to handle the error would just be to like render it in our stack here. We could just go like
sure,
error
yeah, I love
text
it,
color red 500, and we'll render error dot message
love it.
there. Now this feels
Yep, I
like
like it.
better.
Yeah. Okay, so that's done. So that's one. My then second thing was, um, in the case of this form, we're sending through these two props, mutation and mutation options. But I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on like, what if instead we handled them in on submit and that passed the input of what was in the form or something like that? Does that make sense?
Um, I'm just trying to understand. So handle which in on submit.
No, so like instead of yeah, because like right now we have the mutation here, and
Hmm.
really all we do in handle submit is configure the inputs and then call mutate. But we're creating abstractions around that to make it easier to work with two types of mutations. What I'm
Hmm.
saying is that this handle submit could really just fix this up and then call props dot handle submit
Hmm.
and pass in the input. And then each place that uses the form can do whatever they want with the values that are in the form. They can call a mutation. They could do something
Sure.
else. Like I was just curious to hear. I don't want to make this change, but like, what do you think about that pattern as well? I'm just curious to know what you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, we could definitely do that. I think it would ultimately amount to more like repetition, in that like then
You have
both
to
the
set
update
up.
form and the create form would have to both implement their own use mutation.
Yeah.
They both have to like provide the input as variables and
Yep.
so on. In the case of our update form, it doesn't even provide any mutation options. So really, this is only there as like a to provide utility to the create form.
Yeah.
But I mean like that is a perfectly valid like way of doing it as well. I don't have any gripes toward it, but the reason that I gravitate towards this method is just because it is like more common logic shared across the different
Got it.
things.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so my use case and my thinking was just like, which isn't our use case now, so shouldn't worry about it. But like, if you submitted a form and then you wanted to do something like show an animation or do something like that, like those things. I guess though, because the mutation option supports an update function, that you could actually do that. You could do whatever you
Yeah,
wanted.
you could send
So
your on complete option or your update
I
option or anything like
digress.
that.
I digress.
Hmm.
There's no reason. Cool. Awesome. So I was just, yeah, cool. All right. Let's do it.
Sweet. And then the other thing that we're gonna need to do here is our our
Ah,
this input resembles our create input, and the main difference between the create input and the update input is
ID.
we need an ID. But luckily, we can just say props.listing question mark dot ID. So
Oh,
this value will be undefined if a listing prop is not provided, and it'll have the listing ID if one is.
will this break because our create listing input does not have an ID type?
It shouldn't, because
It's undefined.
it'll be undefined. It'll be equivalent to us not including that key in the object at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
And
Then
and really, there is one way that we can find out.
run
And
it.
we'll need to run it for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
what this is another maybe like tangential thing, but I was just thinking about like making this stuff kind of like more streamlined, and like in our schema, we require a title property, and in
Yeah.
in our client we're basically like accounting for people not filling in a title
Yeah.
for a job. And I'm just wondering like what you think about, instead of like, we could remove this and just make title required
Yeah.
um, in there. And I guess the thought I had is like, in under what circumstance would somebody not want to come up with a title for their job listing, you know?
Yes, my thought to that when we talked about it was that I'm on my phone, I'm like on the move, I copy a link, I want to save this as fast as possible. I don't
Mm,
even know what the title is. I'm going to look at that later. But I guess you could
gotcha.
just throw in whatever. A, B, C,
Yeah.
D, the
Foo.
company, foo, anything. So like, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that it doesn't save you enough to require like for the complexity that you get. Not to mention that it'd probably be pretty weird when you went and opened the app later and then you saw like aardvark, apples or something like as a
Right.
listing.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with it. I got no beef, no
All
qualms with
right.
that. Yeah.
Cool. Let's do that. And then I guess we can remove that import.
Yeah, yeah, we can
Um,
get rid of that whole thing. So, because now we're
and
not using
uninstall the
it.
package, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna work on now. I'm jumping
Okay.
into I can't remember the name of that. Unique names generator. Got it. So I'll jump back here, make sure I'm still following you. Boop. So you can work on that, and I'll uninstall this package in the terminal.
This is amazing, man.
I
I love
love this.
pairing is my favorite thing.
Oh yeah.
Um, okay. So now we have a, where is it? Listing form. And the next thing I'm going to do is replace the current create job listing component with listing form. So what I'll do first is just put my listing form component where the old stack form used to be, and
Okay.
just start like copying over some of the unique parts about this create listing form as props to our listing
Love
form
it.
component. So
Love
that
it.
starts with button text, which would be create listing. That's the only thing that is unique from the form JSX itself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this update function is another part. So we'll call that mutation options, and pass in our update function.
It's so
And
cool.
then finally our mutation itself. And I can get rid of this entire handle submit. Um, right, and we're going to say mutation equals create listing. There we go.
And that's it.
And that's it. Now we have our create listing form set up to work with our new listing form component. But before we like that's cool. It looks like it works, but let's go in and test to make sure that it still works with this new configuration.
Yeah. Okay. So we deleted that solutions one, so I'm just gonna go get that again.
Hmm.
Whoa, there's another one. Apparently, we are now also looking for a senior product manager. How crazy is that?
Cool.
Yeah, let's try that out.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. Great listing. Oh, and it's there.
Great.
Beautiful. Ooh, I do really want to put this button to the left soon. We'll take care of that in a minute. But like, yeah, that needs to move over.
Now it's obvious, huh?
Yeah, now that there's two of them, it's driving me nuts. Okay, so that worked. Oh, there's one thing I want to do. When this form is submitted and everything is successfully done, I want to
Hmm.
clear it.
Oh yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
All right.
So I know one way we
Well,
can do this.
sure. Yeah. Let's hear it.
Okay. So, yeah, I'd be curious to see what you think about this. So I have to find the listing form. So here we go. And we have the handle submit, right? And then, which gives us the event, which gives us the
Hmm.
target, which is what we would call reset on because that's the form itself. So even though we're not passing, like we're calling mutation options here, I think that we could instead. Oh no! Oh, hey, Jordan something Musk. I missed the end there, but thank you for the follow. This is falling apart already. So what I was going to say is we could tie into the on complete of the mutate. Um,
Yeah. I
but
think I think that's exactly
what
the
we
right
want to
strategy.
do, right? But it gets interesting because now what we have to say is we have to say dot 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 um, this and then on complete on completed, is that it, or on complete?
Hmm.
On completed.
Uncompleted.
All right, and this is going to be equal to a function. And then this will at some point have to call. So we'll say if props mutation options on completed, then we definitely have to call it.
Hmm.
Whoa. Possible fragment spreads rule. Yeah, that's what I wanted.
You could make like a VS Code autocomplete bingo with this like the unexpected autocompletes that you get.
Yes, that would be amazing. What did I do here? This should be equals. Or I should just do, because we're both using different styles everywhere. So I'll just boop, adopt that. Is that wrong? Why is
Well,
that?
this is just defining it as like a an argument. In
Oh,
here,
oops. Right.
we'd want to do like
Yeah, yeah.
surround this in.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, you go.
Yeah, no worries. This would really be like this. I mean, we could just do that. Boop, done.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, what? Am I crazy? Oh, it's arguments, not an object. And now I get what you were
Yeah, you
doing.
want to do this.
And I am a silly human being. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Cool.
There we
So
go.
now we can do that. And now I can do this.
Yes,
And we
exactly.
match. Okay. But now we can also say event dot target. Wait, do we not have
Or
event
can
here?
we? So
Oh,
so
I
this
wanted
this
to
is
move
kind of like
this. That's what I was going to do. I was going to move this.
you're gonna move this into the handle
Yes.
submit.
Yes.
I see. So that would be one.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what you want to do.
All
Because
right.
this
So
way
the
sucks.
I guess this way is perfectly fine.
I mean, it is, but I just
But
hate it. It's very like, oh, all right.
I guess the question that comes to mind is, do we want to reset the form on both create and update? Because on update,
Uh,
instead of resetting the form and keeping the form open, we're just going to want to like close the modal.
Because when it
So
opens, it will get re-updated anyway.
yeah, and so really this is only something that we want to do on the create flow. And so if you'll let me, I'll show you kind of like
Yes, please.
the
Please.
the approach. So what I would do in create job listing is create a variable called like form ref, and I'll say
Ah,
use ref, and I
this
don't
is
get
already
that auto
better.
import. So I'm going to go up and add that to the top here. Use ref, and then Command D to get back to it. Uh, and then I can pass this form ref into listing form as a form ref prop.
I like
Um,
this so much better.
and then in the stack, I can just give this stack a ref of props.form ref. And it's totally fine. If this is undefined,
It'll
then
just do
nothing
nothing.
happens.
Yep.
Yeah. But then in our create job listing component,
Now we
we can
can
just create
do,
an
yes,
on
much better.
completed
Much better.
form ref current reset,
Oh,
something like that.
oh, so much better. Okay, all right. I love it.
So that yeah, if you're cool with that, that's like that way then
No,
this
no, I'm not
this
cool with
component.
that. Let's keep what I've got.
I don't know. I think like I look at these things as like
Yeah.
like I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with either.
No.
Um, but it just comes like I just ask myself the question of like what yeah, like when creating a reusable component, what's like the cost versus benefit of
Yep.
adding like specific functionality into it. And in this case, this to me like reads really really nicely. Like I can tell what I can almost expect
It's more
what's gonna happen
React-ish to
as
me. Like
props.
it's using React more than like using, I don't know, like patterns of like extension object composition, right? Like I don't
Yeah,
know. Yeah. So I like it
for
better
sure, for sure.
because yeah, it's more React-y. So that's why.
So yeah, what's up, Brulin? Brulin asks, "Are you building this app in React Native?" And the answer is no. We're using just plain old React for this. We're building it with React and serverless functions on the back end,
Yep.
and Shocker UI is the component library that we're using. That's kind of the and of course, if it's not obvious, we're using Apollo pretty heavily both on the client and the server.
Yes. Yeah, very heavily. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So cool. So this is good. I think we're like good here, right?
Now we have our listing form, uh, and to make it work with our update mutation, we could pretty much just like copy it
Pretty much.
and
A little bit
throw
of
it up
change.
in our modal here where we say form here please. We
There
could
you
just
go.
say form. I'm gonna just scrap mutation options for now.
Uh-huh.
Um, the
Wait,
button text, yeah,
we're gonna need on complete to close
true.
the modal.
Yep, you're right. So on completed, we'll just call close modal.
I don't want to be that person, but I don't think we should just close the modal. I think we should toast or something so that they
Oh yeah, I
because
like that
if we
idea.
just close it, I don't know if it works. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I could probably
Yeah,
see it reflected, but
yeah.
so it's going to be deployed on the web. So we're not using really anything that would allow us to deploy to mobile. In theory, you could wrap this up in some stuff and deploy it that way, but we're not using like Expo, or
Mhm.
universal components. Like this is just web React right now. It's actually Gatsby. So Gatsby is a
Right.
web-based React framework for building sites, websites, and web apps. But yeah, it's not. It wouldn't work in React Native as is written now. It would not work. To be
Mhm.
honest, a lot of the GraphQL stuff that we're using would carry over to React Native with almost no change. Um,
Yep.
very little change. But it's actually the UI, the JSX primitives that we're using that would be the biggest blocker. And that's because we're using things like div and paragraph and span and header tags and all that kind of stuff, which none of is supported. If we were wanting to target React Native, instead what we'd want to do is use React Native base primitives like view and text and other things like that, or like a UI framework on top of that, and then use universal components to render it to the web. It could look like we're using React Native because there's like text components and inputs and things like that, but that is only there because that's coming out of Chakra UI, which is an abstraction layer on top of React, but it's for web and it's for building web apps. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully that
So
sums it up.
that nails it. I forgot that when I was rounding up the technology we're using, I forgot to mention Gatsby, but
Yeah,
indeed
yeah,
we're using them as well.
yeah.
But uh, this so now it just comes down to creating our update mutation, and
Oh,
so to
right.
do that,
Yeah.
I'm just going to copy create listing and change oh change the word create to the word update in a few places. Oh yeah. And that should do it. We
That
still
should
want
do
to
it.
return a listing fragment.
Yep.
The input is the only argument that it takes, and now we can go and use this in place of create listing in here.
When we're like pair programming on the same bit of code, it starts to remind me of like a colony of like ants and like how they build stuff or like
Mm.
work together. And like imagine mob programming on like the same bit of code with like 10 other people.
I was just thinking that, yeah, like when there's just the two of us, like we can retain order pretty well. But man,
Yeah.
having a lot of people, there should be like some we should try to plan some event like uh, Twitch writes a web app. uh, just
Let's
post
do
the
it
live share link in chat and just get like
and
the
just
our
go.
whole get all viewers in there. We could set
I
up like
love it.
a nightbot command, so it's like bang whatever, like bang
Yeah.
link or something.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
love it.
all right,
That's a
and
great
the
idea.
last thing I'll do here, just setting up our update mutation, is use toast. We want to display a toast, and this will just mean we call the toast to
The
oscillator
T
node.
oscillator node. While you're doing that, I'm gonna answer a question. So,
Yeah, go.
Bruin Beer has a question. Really, kind of two things. Um, so if you're looking for, I guess, getting started guides for React Native, honestly, this is just me. If I were just getting started, I would use Expo to start, or Ignite. I think they both work together, so I think you can use them both. But I would use like one of those, like you said, kind of frameworks built on top of it that makes it easier to work with. But I don't have off the top of hand. It's been a while, so I think any of like the tutorials or guides that I would reference could possibly be outdated at this point. Um, but yeah, yeah, I would definitely either start with like Ignite or Expo, and I think those two can work together. At which point I would definitely do that. But yeah, they provide a lot of so actually Expo like packages can now be used standalone, a lot of them anyway, in React Native projects, I believe as well. But they just are going to offer a lot of things. So like when you want to do stuff like access the camera, right? And like get a picture and load that up. Like it's going to be very easy to get started with React Native as far as creating a project and then you have a view and you change it and you add styles. Where most people are going to get hung up is once you start to do the things that make building native apps fun, which is like using native APIs. And so when you hit that, Expo is going to be a lifesaver. And definitely, yeah, use Ignite to get started. They have a lot of great tools that make it very easy, a whole UI framework and all that. So yeah, definitely start there. And then once you're building things, you'll hit walls. And then, when you do, dig deeper. That's, yeah, no
Yep.
problem. Anytime. Yeah. All right, cool.
So we have our update form.
Nice.
in here. We don't need to write an update function because the
Nope,
Apollo cache should be smart enough to update our stuff for us.
because we have an
So,
ID.
Kurt, if yes, exactly. So, Kurt, now if you open up the our update listing menu item, you'll see something that might appear to be strange.
Okay, so I've done that. Ah, we've got double buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like what we choose to do about this, I guess we could go one of two different directions. Like on one hand, what we could do is just like make our listing form use modal body and modal footer components so that they're like they appear the same everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, or we could like get more creative about how we render the buttons if we want them to appear different in different contexts. Um, yeah, what do you think? Like, should should we like basically keep the create new listing form rendered the way it is, or like on like one train of thought that I had is, will the create listing form continue to live in this
Probably
kind of
not.
format,
Right.
right?
Definitely not, I would say. Right? Um,
Like, is there a chance that the create listing form becomes a modal itself? You know?
yeah, I don't think it should stay where it is. I think it was there just because it's the first thing that we built. For
Yeah.
me personally, I'd rather see like an add listing button that opens up a modal.
Cool. Well, we don't need to like actually create that modal stuff yet, but maybe
No,
what we can
not at
do
all.
is just use the same like modal footer and modal body components that the update form is using
Yep.
within the listing form, if you're cool
Yeah.
with that.
Oh,
All right.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever gets us continuity.
Yeah.
Ooh, what a fancy word.
I like
So
that.
I have thoughts on this. So sorry, Brulin Beer asked again. Um, yeah, so it's heard that big companies like Airbnb stopped using React Native due to its limitations and performance issues. So I was going to call it a day. So I don't know if you're still here or not, Brulin Beer, but I still want to comment on this. Oftentimes what like really large companies do does not reflect the majority. Sometimes it trickles down. Oh, awesome, cool, still here. So sometimes it does trickle down and will be something that affects the community. Things like that meet that fold, React, Relay, or like Bootstrap was built by Twitter, but it like made sense to open source, right? Like sometimes it does, but there's a lot of times where they'll make technology decisions because it doesn't make sense for the size of their company or some of the things that they're doing. My personal opinion is always use the thing that will let you move the fastest. Like, what are the requirements for the app that you're building? Is like super, fine grained performance tuning something that you need? Because I've seen lots of apps built on React Native that perform excellently and do lots of really crazy things. You know, so it's not just the platform itself. They also have teams and teams and teams of iOS and Android engineers, and they're working from a brownfield app, and there's lots of nuance there and complexity. And also, because it was the overall decision, doesn't also mean that everyone in Airbnb unanimously decided that they don't like React Native. There could have still been an entire team of people. Yeah, not to mention all of the updates that have been happening to React Native lately. Yeah. There you
Hmm.
go. Yeah, Discord is a React Native app. Awesome. I didn't even know that. Yeah, and
I didn't know that either.
there are lots of apps that are React Native apps that are really awesome apps. And React Native is now doubling down on their support for Mac OS and Windows, which means it's going to become again a true multi-platform target. So,
Cool.
yeah. So I would say take that with a grain of salt. Do a little bit of investigation work and decide if you think for yourself if it would be good for your project or not.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it ultimately boils down to what you're building. Like
Yeah.
the
What? what you're building. Who's available to build it is also a huge thing, and like there's lots of questions that need to
Hmm.
be answered, and no simple answer.
Yeah. And like you just pointed out, it has good documentation, so it's like a nice learning experience, and
Yep.
that can't be ignored either. It's
Mm-mm.
like
Strong community.
that's
Strong
a
community.
huge part of why somebody would decide to
Yeah.
pursue learning a particular technology.
Instant access to the JavaScript ecosystem. If you're already familiar with it, you can use tons of JavaScript packages within it, so you don't have the overhead of like recreating these things or figuring out what they are on other platforms. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. If predominantly the people who will be working with it are JavaScript developers, like there's just something about, being able to do that. Hey, Nubby, I keep missing those. I need to get faster at seeing those. But thank you for the follow.
I
Yeah,
got you. Yeah, noble thylacine.
yeah.
Sounds like a something from the periodic table. Noble thylacine, thank you for the follow, and uh, Jordan Glean UK. Thank you for the follow from a few minutes ago as well.
Yeah. One last question that we'll take on this. So yeah, Node.js server with Mongoose. As far as the database goes, if you're more comfortable with NoSQL, go that route. SQL databases like MySQL and Postgres are also good options. If you're not familiar with either, honestly, there's a decent amount of learning material on both. So maybe just kind of look at both and then see which one appeals to you more. I'm gonna definitely say GraphQL there for as far as like your network layer. I mean, it's a Apollo GraphQL Twitch channel, right? That's I'm bound
Hmm.
to say that. But
100%.
yeah. So if you're more familiar with SQL, stick with what you know, unless you're just using this as a learning experience and you want to learn Mongoose. Otherwise, yeah, no reason to use Mongoose or NoSQL databases for the sake of using them. Again, I think it depends a bit on what your needs are. Yeah, one more question. Fire away. Let's do it.
In the meantime, Kurt,
Yeah,
I managed to get the update form in there, but the next thing we need to do is actually test to make sure that it works. So that'll be the next thing.
let's do it. So while I'm
You
waiting,
can
yeah,
get
yeah.
that going right away. I'll see if I can field Berlin's question.
Okay, cool. So we have an update. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say, company is Apollo GraphQL. Oops. Oops. That did not go as planned. Uh, company is Apollo GraphQL. Save changes. Senior project manager has been updated, but oh, and there's our description.
Nice. Okay, so the form works. The toast
Yeah,
works.
yeah. This is awesome. This looks good.
Yeah. And Berlin, as Rodri says in the chat, there's nothing particularly um, like out of bounds with using SQL and Node together.
Yeah,
For example, there's a few really great Node libraries like Sequelize, which is what we're using in
we're
this
using
app,
it.
or
Yeah,
Connects, which is another one that I enjoy using,
bookshelf
that
is
allow you to.
another.
Yep, these kind of libraries allow you to interact with an SQL database in a way that feels really natural and simple in Node. And yeah, Mongo and Mongoose um, would be a similar kind of like pairing of database and database client that you'd use in your Node
I got
API.
you. Yeah, and just to follow up on that, so whether you're using SQL or Mongoose, you're still going to need an API layer. And you might have some tools that will like help you, maybe that you found that like just connect Node and Mongoose and create like this API for you. But I found generally going straight from database to API, whether that's through GraphQL or REST, tends to not be what you really want. There's more nuance to updating things and relationships than that. So I advise against that. And whether you go REST or GraphQL, I would definitely use a tool that makes it easy to interact with your database, but you should control those kind of endpoints and how the data is fetched and returned, in my opinion. That's just me. Um,
Indeed.
yeah. Cool. All right. So we got this. We got our create listings and our update listings. Should we try and make sure create listing is still working as expected?
Sure. Let's do it.
Because we have this Apollo Solutions Architect one. So let's go back.
And we can test delete as well.
Yeah, good call. So cool. So that's still working. And then we'll delete it. I am sure. And it's gone. This is all cool. I think one thing that we could do, I don't think we need to do it now, but we should do later, is we don't have a toast when we create the listing. But it does kind of show up, so maybe that's not
Yeah.
like, I don't think that's as,
Especially Yeah, especially if we like add it to the top of the list. I think right now we're adding it to the bottom of our list.
we should add it
Um,
to the top.
if we add it to the top, then that'll be really apparent.
I'll
So
take care
what
of
we could
that.
do is like if you want to change that so we're adding it to the top of the list, what
Yeah.
I'll do is change our GraphQL resolver to return listings, and I'll just say order by ID
Yes.
and descending. Yeah.
All right. So where's our create listings form? Login form? No. Create listings. What am I? I am lost in here now. Listing form. Here we go. Listings menu.
Let's see.
Delete button. Yeah, I am struggle bussing here. Ooh, excuse me. There's no
Uh,
create listing.
I think where you
Here we
want
go. Got it.
to,
I found
yeah,
it.
you got it
I found it. Yeah.
in the mutation options.
Yep. Yeah, I couldn't find the form for the create job listing. That's why.
We really need to get these components split out, huh?
Oh my gosh, I'm swimming over here, drowning, I guess is a better word. Okay. All right, so that should be reversed. So we can
Cool.
test this because I'm just going to add that. Oops, I got to go get the URL, but I'm going to add that one post right back.
Okay.
Um, oh wait, it was just solutions architect. There we go. Pops in at the top. I'm going to update this listing to just say backend engineer. Cool. This is neat. Oh, isn't that neat?
It's very neat. Um, cool. Yeah, brilliant. No problem, man.
Yeah, seriously,
If
no
you want a
problem.
website and a React Native app, are those separated or can code be reused again? You know, some code can be reused. Like you could React Native and your React website, they're both built using JavaScript, but the actual components, like this is kind of what Kurt was getting at earlier, the components that you use to build a React Native app are different than the components that you use to build a React web app. So that all of the UI bits would need to be more or less um, written separately. But you if you would want to reuse what they would call like your business logic, or like the logical bits that control, you know, how people interact with your app. Um, so, for example, if you're building like a random name generator, you would only write the code that generates the names one time and share that between the two
Yeah.
projects somehow. And then like the UI that displays the name would be separated. Um,
If you want like a literal one code based solution, then I highly suggest testing or checking out Expo. They now support Expo for web. You can target web, Android, and iOS as platforms for development and deployment.
ooh,
So I would definitely do that. I would also
that's cool.
go, yeah, I would also go follow. So let's go to Twitter real quick. Evan Bacon Bricks, I would 100%. So he works at Expo. He is constantly dropping information about Expo web type stuff, cross platform, universal components. So I would definitely follow him. And someone else who I would follow would be Brent Vante. And I wonder if I'm spelling that incorrectly. Um, Not Brent, because it's just not, he doesn't have that listed as his name. I would follow him as well. And there's more people, but if you follow them, you'll figure out who else you could be following. And so they are constantly talking about React Native stuff, um, and how that relates to Expo and that. And then you also have the whole Expo in general, and then you have the Infinite Red team, like you were talking about with Ignite. And they have a lot of information on that and some information on cross-platform deployments. So yeah, those would be that'd be where I would start.
Mhm.
Okay.
And just going back here, Noble asked about porting legacy. They port a lot of legacy applications and considering using GraphQL to abstract legacy databases instead of handcrafting system APIs. I'm not sure exactly what a system API means,
Just
but
APIs in front of individual systems, and then like
got it.
most times you end up tying that together with like an API gateway or having them be standalone
Oh.
services. Yes. So welcome to my life a couple years ago when I was at Major League Soccer. And there's not a bigger team related, and we used GraphQL to tie together like 4 or 5 separate systems. And it was an amazing change. And so actually, I have an article that's still relevant. Uh, the road to GraphQL at Major League Soccer that explains why we did this, or maybe it's implementing GraphQL. Let me see. Yes. So the first half of this article, the second half gets into implementation details, but they're outdated. But you could jump into the Apollo docs to figure that out. But the first half is to sum up kind of the problem that we were trying to solve, and I won't sit on this too long. But here, just this one card is showing 3 different APIs that we had to hit to correlate this data. And you can see how spread out this is. So from our content API comes logos, team names, what stations, broadcasters are picking this up, the team names, like recap articles. Then you have the statistics API, which is just a bunch of, charts and data and stuff. We had a video API. You press the play button, you want to watch the video. And so all this stuff had to be correlated together. And there was actually other APIs that ended up getting added. And then not only did we have that one state to deal with, but we had, where is it? Where we show multiple states. Where is, here. So yeah, we also had to account for all of this. And so by putting these APIs behind GraphQL, it gave us one common DSL to target, made it very easy to get data that was related to other pieces of data, and we didn't have to have some REST API gateway we had to build out ourselves, and we didn't have to do it from the client. So yeah, I'll end on that. But yeah, it's definitely
Mm.
worth investigating. And aggregation of old legacy services is like one of the a million, uh, um, like one of the million things that GraphQL excels at. So
Yeah. And I just wanted to back up a minute. And Minion Sniper asks
sorry.
if we're using Redux in our job listing app.
Yeah.
The answer is no. We're using Apollo client through and through. So we're using Apollo to handle data from our server and also from our just like local data that we store in
Local
our app.
state. Yep.
And would if I would recommend using Redux, it again, like to Brulin's point, or to Brulin's question earlier about like recommending one technology or over another, it's hard for me to like recommend because I don't know what your project requirements are. I personally never use Redux anymore. I'm all in on Apollo Client because it does everything that Redux does, and in a fashion that is more like makes more sense to me, is more
Yeah.
enjoyable for me to use. Um, but I would never tell somebody you should not use Redux,
No.
because I use Redux for years. It's a wonderful tool, but I just happen to find a tool that's more in line with my own preferences. That's really that's the closest you'll get from a recommendation for me right now. But
Yeah. Same boat for
um,
me.
yeah, and yeah, Berlin, you really you probably should tamper your expectations a little bit, if and like I said, the you know, when you say like an app like Instagram, remember that Instagram is like constantly in development. People work on Instagram for their full-time job. Hundreds of like high-level software developers working on the front end and the back end. They have a whole ad network that they need to serve. Like, if you wanted to create an app like Instagram, do you mean like also having the like content suggestions and all, like there's serious like high level AI behind
Yeah.
Instagram that
Machine
makes
learning.
it I don't want to say impossible for one dev to do, but it crosses so many um, crosses into so many different areas of software development
Yeah.
that it would be unrealistic for one developer to have like deep knowledge on all of these subjects.
And
So
not yeah,
yeah,
not to say that you can't start the process of building an app that could be something like Instagram someday, or like if you just mean in that type of functionality, like as far as like the user experience aside from ads or suggestions, like something like that. But like yeah, the idea that building it completely by yourself, um, if you look at the first version of Instagram, like are there screenshots of it?
it's just like a feed, and building something like that is totally something that one developer could come
Yes.
up with. You know, if you
Yes.
spend if you spent a weekend or a week or something working on an app that showed a feed of photos, allowed you to
Yeah.
upload photos to that feed,
Yep.
that
100%.
is a great starting point. But yeah, like it really depends, like what parts of Instagram are do you want to replicate, I guess, because some are definitely easier than others.
Yep. And yeah, you got to start somewhere. And the cool thing is to start building something early and hopefully get some people using it and get feedback and see what makes it different than Instagram. What do people like about it? What are they missing? What are, yeah, that's
Yeah.
the best way to build apps is to have people use it, And something like React Native allows you to get apps thrown together relatively quickly. So,
Hmm. Um, yeah. And I don't know if we, like, I wouldn't say that I use, like, at least I don't consciously use agile methods in my projects. Maybe I happen to use them subconsciously, but it's not like we don't have, on Kurt and my team at Apollo, we don't have like things called sprints or
yeah.
any of like the concepts that come out of those books.
Oops, sorry, y'all. There we go. Just want to get this link. Here we
For
go.
sure. And but yeah, guys, we're gonna do one last thing here. Now that we know that
Yes.
our update and delete mutations are working, I'm gonna make a commit that just says add update and delete mutations, and push that to master. And then the last thing we're gonna do on stream today is separating out our components in our index.js file into smaller, more more
Oh,
individually manageable chunks.
yes.
This got us up to this point pretty well, but as you could tell in today's stream, we kind of got lost in the weeds a few times, and
Yep.
we don't want that to continue happening. So yeah, let's get into this. Kurt, do you want to drive for this part?
Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm creating a new folder under source called components. Because I think some of this stuff, actually, I don't even know. Like, yeah, do you want to just do that? That's generally what I do
Let's do it.
for like
Yeah, yeah.
most
I love that.
components. Yeah, it seems to make the most sense. Okay. So we've got our components, and so now we just need to like think of like what are the things that we want to pull out. A clear one for me that I like is create job listing. I would love to see
Sure.
like the form for that. That could definitely be one. So we'll do a new file, and we'll call that create job listing. .js. So I'm just going to go through and figure out what they are, create the files, and then we can go through and just pick one and just start exporting them. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right. So next up, we've got our listing form. That seems like something that could totally be its own
Yep.
thing. But now I'm wondering if we do listing form, do we really need to move out create job listing? Because like, aside from the listing form, it's only a couple. Yeah, we'll move it out. We'll move it
Yeah,
out.
sure.
Why not? So that was the create listing form.
hmm
It should just be listing form because you can create or update.
Right. Yeah, it's just listing form.
Okay, so we've got one for that. Um, listing
I'm also
form.
gonna export our listing menu, and
Yes,
and then the interesting part about that is that I'm just gonna include the delete button in that file because it's the only component that uses this delete button, and we
yep,
separated it into a separate component purely for like scoping reasons. We don't want to
absolutely,
like include the delete logic in the like listing menu at large. So I'm going to
absolutely.
do that.
I created a file for login form so that we can move that.
Okay.
All right, and then job listings would be the last thing, the listings list.
The listings listing.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm gonna call it listings list. Is that or just listings?
Sure, just listings works.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I've got all those files made. I'm going to start with job listings, and then I'm just going to start exporting and importing things.
Sounds good. So I normally my workflow for this is kind of funny. Like what I'll do sometimes is just kind of like copy all of the
The whole
imports.
page. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much like copy the whole page and then delete the parts that I'm not using.
Yep. That's kind of what I
But
do too.
but yeah, let's see. So listing menu. I'm working in listing menu. It's gonna so there's gonna be a few things that all of these or like multiple of these things share. And one of the things that comes to mind are queries and fragments. For
Yes.
example, our like job listings query where we use that to update our cache, and the listing fragment. They're both going to be shared among multiple components. So what I'm going to do is create a file in the source directory called utils, if you're cool with that. We
Oh
can call
yeah.
it utils or queries or something like that. But utils is more kind of general
Yeah, that
purpose.
works for me.
Okay.
And while you're doing that, I'm just like stripping these things out, and then I'll come back and like add all those queries and stuff in.
All right.
So like you said, it's going to come from utils, right?
Yeah, you can import any of like the shared like listing fragment,
Yeah.
uh, the job listings query. Hey, what do you think about calling the job listings query list listings or get listings or something? Because we call the other mutations like create listing, update listing, delete listing, and so on.
I'm okay with just either listings or get listings, either one.
Cool. Let's do get listings just to um or maybe just listings. I don't know. Whatever
I
you're
I already
comfortable.
typed out get listings, so now that's what it is.
All right. There's no going back.
No, uh, it's so funny.
All right.
Oh, what am I doing? Import equals instead of from. All right, there we go. So get
Okay.
listings,
I'm going to throw that in the utils function, get listings.
and then do we do anything else with it here? Nope. Cool. So that's easy. This one was an easy one, but we want to export default. Do you want to do default exports, or would you prefer to named import everything?
I typically do default exports, but I'm
Okay,
I'm
cool.
easy, man. I'm totally
Yeah,
easy with it.
no, I'm good. Let's do defaults.
Cool. All right. Now, oh, listing menu. Okay. Going to trim out the unused dependencies here.
What's interesting is just by changing the name from job listings to listings, I'm actually realizing that if we changed a little bit of the verbiage, not only would this app be good for tracking anything, I mean, at that point, not jobs, it becomes
Mhm.
good for tracking anything.
Yeah. Patrick, you're right. Copy with imports would be a really helpful VS Code extension.
Oh, wow. Copy with
Somebody get on.
imports. Blow my mind, would you? That's crazy. That would be awesome. Oh,
Anyway, man, yeah, hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks for stopping by, hanging out with
yeah,
us.
absolutely. Yeah. And then real quick, Noble Thy Lucine, is that right? Noble Thy Lucine? Do you target mainly mobile and web? Do you see any need for Java or Go ports? Interesting. Um, okay, so from all I can gather is I mainly target. It really depends on what I'm building. So like, let me throw that out again. It depends. But it really does. It depends on what I'm building. I just realized one of my lights went out. It
Oh
depends on
no.
what I'm. Yeah, it's cool. I can't find the plug and the battery keeps dying. All right. Anyway, yeah, it depends. But I tend to target web unless I hit a specific use case where I need native functionality. Because things that work on web also work on mobile for, most things. But yeah, unless I specifically need something, I tend to stick with web. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, what was I doing? Oh, so listings is done. I got that one done. What one are you working on now? Just so I don't step on your toes.
I just finished listing menu. I'm gonna do create job listing now.
Perfect, because I will do listing form. So you're gonna want to import listing form from like a
Got it.
component in job listings.
Okay.
Am I? I'm following you again, aren't I? No, I'm not. Okay. So create job listing. Here's the listing form. All right. So Command X. Where's the listings form? Where did you go? Let me close some of these files here.
Okay.
Oh, cancel. Don't want to close that one. Create job listings. That's what you're in. Listings form. Here we go.
Let's see, where am I? Create job listing. Gonna copy that. Throw it in this component. It'd be cool if we could have like, I don't even know how it would work, man. But oh, Kurt,
Yes.
your camera died.
Oh, my camera died too. I'm killing it.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
Your camera's
jeez.
just a black square.
Black square, man. And that too, I have a plug for, but the way that you probably can't hear me. Hang on.
No, I can hear you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I have a plug for it too, but like the way my camera case works, if the battery door is open, it won't turn on. So I have to
Oh.
like figure out how to rig it. Like there's a little thing that if I press in, it will work. So I could do. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I've been kind of busy.
I
So
see.
I'm literally changing my camera battery now.
All right.
So it should kick back on here in a minute.
Take your time.
Yeah, no rush, no rush. There we go. So I got my light back on, my camera back on. I'm like a whole new person here. I might have to switch like the input because when I turn it off, it behaves really funny. Hey, Apollo, who's there? Hey, everybody. Sorry, I thought.
What's up, Eves?
Uh,
Nice to see you. Let's see. I'm just missing a couple things here. Some chakra imports. We
Boom,
go
I'm
import
back.
box and heading from
He's back. Bum, bum,
chakra
bum.
UI core.
All right,
And
cool.
then I think this component's done.
All right. Apollo, I love it. I also like astronaut. I like the term astronauts. What's up, astronauts? That's like my thing
Mm-hmm.
for Apollo. Yeah.
Yeah, Apolloites.
Yeah. What's up,
I like astronauts too. In meteor days, they would be called meteorites.
meteorites?
Hmm.
Hey, all you cool meteorites and astronauts. Okay, sorry, I got way distracted. All right, so I have a camera now and lights. Doing big things, doing really big things.
One thing I'm going to do, Kurt, is just in keeping with some of the naming that we've been doing, is change create job listing to just create listing.
I love it. I think
The
you should
component
absolutely
name.
do that. Yeah, for sure. If I called it create job listing, that was silly.
It's all good.
And I apologize. Oh, oops. Oh, so we're
Okay.
not using modal header here. We're not using modal close button.
Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is just get our login form in its own component as well.
Yeah, that's perfect. I should have a file already.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, this looks good. So listing form is done. Let me go to index and add that.
Okay. Let's see. What else do I need here? I'm going to grab...
yeah, we're doing really good. We only have one error, and it's just the login form stuff. And once you're done with that, we're like basically done. Basically, not quite.
That is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, like everything is gone.
Where did it all go? Index.js
Oh, right,
is so
because
lonely now.
yeah, so create listing does not exist in here anymore. Oh, yes, it does. So listing form is not even used in this file anymore. I can get rid of that. We don't need that.
Ooh.
And neither is listing menu. Am I to understand that correctly too? Yeah.
Listing menu should be... Oh, no, listing menu is imported by
Yeah. Something else.
listings.js. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Progress. So login form still not there. I'm going to start clearing out these imports that aren't used.
Okay.
God, I love pair programming so much.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
We're a
Apparently
2x
we're still
developer.
That's it. We're apparently still using use query in here. Ah, for our local state. Talking about that local state. Yeah, we are using use query.
Yep.
Perfect. Oh, I can't wait to do this. Big old highlight. Delete.
Oh, man. That's cathartic.
Oh, it's the best.
That's the right word, right?
Yeah, cathartic. That is the right word. You could also
Okay,
say Mary Kondo. Very Mary
okay.
Kondoing, right?
Same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same thing basically. Okay, all right. Wow. Are we done?
I think so.
Nope. We got a couple problems in
All right.
components listings. So this is my fault. I guess I accidentally got rid of some needed imports. So let me go fix that real quick. Listings. So we need heading. Link comes from Gatsby. Listing menu we'll need and text. So that takes care of those. So now we're going to import listing menu from wait, I'm already in components. Listing menu. Ugh. So that takes care of that one. Oh, and then link comes from Gatsby.
Mm-hmm.
Import. Gatsby. It's like Best Buy, but for Gatsby.
But for Gats.
GQL is not defined. Pages index. Yeah, oops. Let me go bring that back. GQL comes from Apollo client. Icon button is not defined in listing menu, and neither is modal close button.
I'm on it. I'm on that one.
All right.
Okay.
Quick reminder to remember to hydrate. I've been out of
Oh my
hydration
God.
beverage.
Pancakes, my man.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually out as
Ugh.
well. This is dire circumstances.
Woof.
I'm gonna, you know what? I respect that so much. I'm gonna go get myself some water before we
If you're
even
gonna do that, I'm gonna go get water too.
Let's water break, dude.
We're gonna water
Right
break.
back.
We'll be right back. I'm gonna flip to the stream starting soon. We'll be right back. Hey yo, sorry about that. We are back.
We're back. Hey, cheers, dude.
Cheers. Oh, so good. Yeah, I pawned pancakes. Thank you. Oh, that was so amazing. I feel a lot better. All right. Woo! We are 3 hours in. This has been a long one.
Let's wrap this show up. Let's get this thing
Yeah,
working.
let's get it done. Yeah. Okay.
Would you?
Oh, we're building.
It's building.
Yeah, it's building. Extract queries from component.
Yeah.
Success. I think we're
Nice.
good. Let me go back to the UI. Oh my God, it's here. It's all here.
I like it. And now
Oh.
our index.js is just like way more
Oh.
focused. All of
Look at this.
our other components where we're gonna do work in
Yeah.
are gonna be a lot easier to parse. Speaking of easier to parse, what do you think about bumping the font size up in your editor? Eve in chat.
Oh,
Just
I'm sorry.
about that.
I normally have it bumped up. And I was slipping and I didn't do it. I normally bump it up 2, which is
That's
this.
pretty good.
Yeah, and I only bumped it up 1.
Oh no.
Yeah, I apologize. Because that kind of stinks now because the whole stream means it was a little small. So I'm a little disappointed in myself. 3 hours of tiny fonts.
Let's just start again. Let's do
Yeah,
it over.
that's it. Undo. Command Z.
3 more hours.
Buckle in, folks.
Anyway, I think this is a really good result.
Yeah.
We did did a lot today. I think we can make a commit with
Yeah, I
these
agree.
changes, and then begin wrapping up. What do you think?
Yeah, I love it. You want me to go ahead and do the commit?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
So I guess what would we say? We kind of
Uh-huh.
refactored components to own files. Cool. That works, right?
Hmm.
Pushed.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it. It's done. It's live.
Lovely. Well, that was really satisfying. So, do you want to recap
Oh,
kind of like what we did today?
yes. Yes, because we did a lot.
We did.
Um, so should we jump to the browser and kind of look at the app and then what we did
Yeah,
there, or
let's
do
do
you want
that.
to kind of go through the code a little bit? Yeah.
I think
So
yeah, either way.
yeah, I think we'll go over the UI and then we'll talk about the code behind it. I guess kind of works. So
Cool.
we had basic support for creating a listing. In other words, we could create it with the properties, but once we had it, that was all we could do. We didn't have the rest of the CRUD. We were missing UD and CRUD. We couldn't update it and we couldn't delete it. So we added that functionality here. We can update and delete listings. We did that. We then took the existing. Well, we also made some like UI updates. So in other words, like just changing how the UI looks, packaging everything in, abstracting the updates into this modal. I love this. This looks so nice. I love the purple too.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so we did that. We tested all that works. And so what that looks like in code, what we started with today was just an index.js as far as the client goes, as far as the source goes. We just had our index page. Yeah, git commit work in progress. Absolutely. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, so now we have all these nice components all cut out, and as Trevor just mentioned, our import or our index file went from like it was up to like 500 lines. We're down to under 100, 70 lines. From a backend perspective, what we've got working, and when I say backend, we're just using serverless functions. So anything that I do is going to be within these two functions. So this app is deployed on Netlify, and as such, we can make use of Netlify, their support for serverless functions. So we have our GraphQL. So this is our GraphQL server, but it's just packaged into one little serverless function, which is really nice. And then what we did was we came in here and added the types and resolvers that we would need to support updating and deleting listings. Before it was just this. So actually 2 hours ago, I had support for deleting listings. So yeah, that was essentially what we had. And that's where we ended up, right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good leap from where we started the
Oh, yeah,
stream earlier today.
I'm so happy. I think we got really far.
And
Um,
we ended on a more hydrated note, which I think is
Always make time for
very
hydration.
important. Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess now we could figure out like essentially what's coming up and what we got going on and stuff like that, and maybe look for someone
Let's
to raid. I'd say.
sure.
Yeah.
Let me just take a quick look. What's going on? Um, one of our coworkers, Jay, is streaming some Call of Duty right now. It's not exactly web
No
development,
way.
so that's
Oh, I
one
don't
option.
care. Yeah.
Uh, another option is we've rated this gentleman before, but CM Griffing is working on some React stuff. I think he's still
Okay.
alive. Or yeah, or no, sorry, he's doing uh, wow, TypeScript Elixir, which is Elixir is like a GraphQL thing, right? Or is it not?
No, Elixir is like a framework, like a language. It's like for
Oh, okay.
building apps. Yeah, Elixir you used to build full stack web apps, and I think Phoenix is the framework of choice there in
I see.
uh,
I see. All
most
right.
instances. Yeah,
Anyway,
so Elixir is like its own whole language.
cool. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's an option.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just browsing the web development list here.
Yeah,
Um,
Call of Duty sounds fine. I mean, I
yeah.
don't care. Yeah, oh
All right.
yeah, I don't care what we do.
Well, then if that's cool with everybody, we'll get that set up. Let me see if I can do this.
No, didn't we try this? Let me try and mod you again.
I don't have permission. Oh, bummer. That's okay. But anyway, I'll send you.
It says you're already a moderator of the channel, so I just need to fix those permissions. Or you could, like whoever signs in needs to do it. But I'll figure it out.
By the
All
way,
right.
Jay also lifts, and he also owns a BRZ.
I know. That is so hilarious. So for anyone who doesn't have that context, I own a BRZ and I'm also a fan of lifting.
A
So,
BRZ is a
although
car.
is a car, it's a Subaru, it's a sports car, a small little sports car, but it's rear wheel drive and it's a lot of fun.
Mhm.
If you ever wanted to drift into a sidewalk, get a BRZ.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah. Okay, it's just like a joke. Everyone says like the only thing they're good for is like drifting into sidewalks. But yeah. All right. Yeah.
That's fun.
It is funny.
I always send Jay images of like other cars taken from sweet angles. Like I'll like get down low and take a photo
Yeah.
of like a Mini Cooper and then hashtag BRZ gang just to piss him off.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's do it. I'm gonna start this raid. Let's get this going on. Yeah. So we are
Anyway,
ready to raid.
thank
Go ahead.
everybody. Thank you everybody for stopping by today. Thanks everybody for the follows and for asking questions and chatting. It was really fun
Oh, such a
working
fun
with you guys
stream.
today.
Yeah, real quick, if you haven't seen the little ticker at the bottom, we've got some upcoming streams. I don't want this to run out of time and we have to like re-raid. But yeah, next week we've got some Orbit stuff coming up where we talk about the news. We got another launch pad where we'll build more on this app. And we've got a really exciting one, Apollo Client 3 intro from Ben Newman, so who's on the open source core team here at Apollo. It's going to be really fun, so don't want to miss that. And that's Wednesday upcoming. Yeah, but definitely check that out. Thank you for joining us, as Trevor mentioned, and we'll see you on the other side.
Peace out, guys.
Later, everyone.
So